What's up, buddy?
Much anticipated.
It was good. It was good to be here.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Let's get after it. Let's get after it. So it's been a long time in the making. I was actually going to try to start this podcast in November, October, like Thanksgiving when I saw you.
Yeah.
And a couple months of prep work, but now here we are.
Yeah.
2021.
New year, man. New beginnings. I guess that's what they say, right?
I'm same grind for me. So today's guest, first episode for all the listeners. Today's guest is Mike Amoriello. He's my brother-in-law, twice removed. What would you say you are?
That's it, yeah, brother-in-law. Twice removed, I guess.
My sister's husband.
Correct.
That would be how we would describe
Yeah, we're
it.
brother-in-laws, man. We'll keep it simple.
All right, keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
So yeah, I wanted you to come on because it's funny. Every Christmas party or Thanksgiving, you go off on your tangents and
That's good dialogue, right?
No, it's great content. I was telling editor Mike, so we don't confuse him with you. I was telling editor Mike that you're always going off on these topics, and I'm like, this is all great, like fire content. So I'm just gonna dive right into it with you. And you briefly touched on last Christmas, a couple weeks ago. You touched on things about your journey and how you kind of started in your 20s to try to change your life around health-wise, mental health. And, I really, to be honest, I don't know much about it. I just know you probably have a lot to say about it. And so I kind of want to hear, how that started and where you came and where you're at now.
I mean, well, in the beginning, for me, I was always an athlete. I was a very active kid, and then as you get older, you kind of pull away from that. You don't have leadership. I think I was just lacked leadership as I got older. My brothers raised me. My father was older. My mother was bedridden. So I really didn't have that. I didn't have that influence coming out of high school. And I probably would have been a pretty good college player, moving into the next level. But I didn't do that. I moved away. Obviously, I met my beautiful wife. But then kind of just drift away, man, and you get caught up in the wrong people, you get caught up in the wrong crowds, and then I ended up getting, I was addicted to drugs for a long time. We were bad, more myself than her. But
and was this before or after you met her?
We rode this thing was together.
Because I don't even really know that story. When did you guys meet?
We met in high school.
Okay, so like
our journey stayed from day one. So everything we did together.
And how old are you now?
I'm 40. I'll be 44.
Yeah, I knew you were in your 40s. How old?
I'll be 44.
44. Okay, so you guys been together with 20 some years now.
25
right?
years. Yeah.
25. Okay. Yeah. So met in high school, and then you started going down that path.
Yeah.
Kind of in your 20s, you're saying?
Early going. Yeah, early going.
Okay.
I mean, we fast forwarded. I started as became an electrician. So I actually around 24, I started to wake up. Like, man, I got my career now. I'm starting to build a career, and I'm seeing my money. I'm just wasting money on drugs. Now, we weren't caught up in this stuff that it's hurting everyone else. We were just hurting ourselves. We weren't begging off anyone. I still went to work, still did the 9 to 5s, but
But you weren't financially strapped because of the drugs. You still were paying your bills.
We did our thing. We weren't heading in the right direction. And then I just gained weight, man. And then one day I woke up one day and I just said, look, I just want to stop all this stuff. I started gaining weight. I let go of everything. Next thing you know, a year later, I had a heart attack.
How old were you when you had the heart attack?
I was 28.
Jesus. And I saw on Facebook because like I said, I don't know much about the backstory before I met you, but I saw on Facebook, a couple throwback, before and after pictures.
Yeah.
You were, I didn't barely even recognize you when you were heavier. So you really... you gained you gained a lot of weight from high school into your 20s.
Correct.
And then that is where you kind of decided, because I mean, looking at you now, you're ripped like Rambo. I mean, you're a CrossFit video every 3 days on Instagram. So something changed, I guess, right around what? The heart attack kind of woke you up?
Well, yeah, the heart attack I had a new child. My daughter was 15 months old when the heart attack happened.
Okay.
So I'm looking at, in the hospital, the nurses, I was in the hospital, and we're in the heart ward on the 8th floor, and we're walking down the hallway going to go see my family a couple of days after it happened, and the nurse was telling me, she kept like every door we walk past, like, this is a returning person, and that clicked in my brain, like she was trying to tell me that I don't have to be them. Like, I can be different. I can be that 1% that changes their lifestyle. Because in this heart disease, cardiovascular disease, most of the people have that returning issue, because they cannot sustain that lifestyle. They try to say, hey, make changes.
And they never make the changes, which means their
No.
health will always come back and bite
Yeah.
them, and that's why they're back in the hospital.
Correct.
So your health and your decision to try to get healthy prevented you from going into that circle.
And I just never looked back, man. And then what really set the tone for me was back in 2007, my old man died. And
how old were you when he died? You're like 30?
I was just about 30.
30, okay.
And when he passed away, that was like a like fire that hit me. I was upset about it, but it gave me life. It gave me fire, like desire to never put my kids through that. And then that's where we are today, man. I mean, 15 years later, and I'm completely blessed, man. I really am.
Yeah, no, that's good. Speaking of kids, now you have the two kids. 15. How old is she? How old are
She
they?
turned 15 January 1st.
And then he's like 10.
Yep, 10. He'll be 11 in
now they're
August.
good kids. So I want to transition a little because now you have the two kids, wife, the house, and the topic that everyone's talking about that I wanted to touch on obviously today is the pandemic, the lockdowns, and I'm not in your shoes in the sense of I don't have the kids, the wife, I have a mortgage, but I don't have other responsibilities like that. How has that been? Because you've lived it. How has that been with the lockdowns and kind of the government, so to speak, trying to prevent people from making a living? You're a prime example of someone that needs to make a living. So how's that been?
Well, in the beginning, obviously, it felt restricted. It felt like our rights were being stripped from us. And I took it that way. I was, because I didn't believe it. Not that I didn't believe it, but in the beginning, I'm like, it's just a virus. Let's let it be. Let it run.
2 weeks.
Let's let it run.
I would have done the 2 weeks.
Yeah, let's let it run its
thing in
course.
April. I was like, okay, 2 weeks. Stay home, watch Netflix for 10 days, binge a couple shows, eat food. 2 weeks, I was all about it. Then they extended it to like April 30th.
Kept going.
And then I was like, all right, and then I was like, maybe Memorial Day. And then once summer, the official, kickoff of summer came, and it was still the masks. I realized if it's summer and we're wearing masks, like this is not going to end.
No.
And now we're almost a year into this, and like I said, it's funny to me. In my experience, it went from 2 weeks in early April, which I thought was doable, to now about a year almost. And I don't know, like having the pressure of the kids and then the element of them in school, and then they have to go to school. Like it's not good for them.
All we did is I went back to my roots.
Okay.
I took them out to the woods. I did things with them that we didn't normally do. And actually, this pandemic brought my family closer. Like we're eating dinner more together. Right. We're more tuned in as a whole unit, where before the pandemic, we were kind of, even my wife and I, we were kind of in our own little boxes. Now I'm blessed because of the pandemic.
Right. I mean, a lot of good has come from it because it opened people's eyes.
Yeah, man.
To maybe do more Sunday dinners or weekly dinners.
We're breaking bread together, and for me, that's all I've ever asked for, and I asked for that. But then on myself, get tuned into these phones, and everybody's everywhere, and that's the good thing about this pandemic. What I learned from it was able to bring them closer to me, and that's kind of all I ever wanted, So for me, it was it was a positive. It was tough for everyone.
When did you go back to work? I know you as an electrician.
6 weeks.
So you about a month and change. You were like not working.
About that,
pretty much waiting, and then kind of the income started to come rolling back.
Yeah.
So for you, you've been working since May, pretty much.
Yeah, it was only 6 weeks.
So because I know people personally that you probably know that still aren't working.
No, I know it's crazy
because their industry got totally slaughtered. So at least you got back to work. I mean, it's just, but that's another thing. Like I just, I was listening to another podcast, and there's really no science behind, picking these curfews and, well, you can go to this store but not that store, and obviously it's a topic everyone's debating, but I just think from a logical standpoint that, I think, you got to let people make their own decisions. I mean, you got to, I understand you got to be smart, you got to be safe, but you got to let people make their own decisions. And I think the government's been a little too intrusive, and a lot of people actually have been allowing it. a lot of citizens, fellow Americans like us, have actually, I've seen, just kind of laid down and let it happen. And I think if that's the course and the trend of where we're going, I mean, I don't think that's going to work out in the long run politically.
People are living on their knees, and I don't understand why. Like, you have an opportunity to stand up for your small business, and you're not. And there's these fines that you're getting. Eventually, I don't know. Like, if you look at the gym that was in Belmar,
Right.
what they're going through, those guys are standing tall. I mean, agree or disagree, they're fighting for their business.
Right.
And I appreciate that, because if everyone was to open up their doors, you can't find everyone.
Right.
It's just, what are you going to do? I mean, I have children. I'm not going to put my kids in a bad situation. If I had elderly parents, I wouldn't put them in a bad situation. I don't. I want to live. I want us to live. I want us to be open. I think everything should be open. That's just my opinion. With like you said, with rules and regulations.
It's funny because, everyone's talking about wear the mask, 6 feet, mask 6 feet, only go to Walmart, only go to ShopRite. Shout out ShopRite, Mike. And but no one's saying go outside, get vitamin D, exercise, don't be a blimp. Don't eat donuts, bag of donuts every day for breakfast. Like, no one's saying don't do that. Because if everyone does that, they might be able to combat the virus a little. I mean, again, I'm not a doctor by any stretch. I'm not an expert on any of this, but all we hear is media, which is the devil, shoving down the throat, mask 6 feet, no gatherings. But they never say, well, how do you maintain a healthy lifestyle?
Never.
They never talk about that.
Never.
And, that's...
It's funny. You turn on Channel 29, the local news, like, when I'm home with the wife, and I get so frustrated because it's numbers, virus, extension, new strand.
In Colorado, did you see that?
Yeah. It's like, it's worse. It's
29, I think 20-something-year-old guy got it.
It's like, it's when's it enough, man? When can you stop? You put fear in people. I don't know. It's like beating a dead horse sometimes.
Right. The other day I was talking to a friend of mine about this on the phone. Like, I remember back in, 2010 or 9, the swine flu. Remember the bird flu? I think it was during the Obama administration.
Every calendar year. Yeah, every presidential calendar year.
Exactly. There was always something. But I remember, and you might have been a little younger, Mike, but you can probably attest to this. So I remember it was kind of like a big scare. It was a big media thing. And it was on the news maybe for like a week. And that was it. And this is the only time in my lifetime that I've seen something it's like you said, you turn on Fox, CNN, CBS, it's this COVID. It's the only thing on the news. Still, this is going on 11 months of this.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like, well, the swine flu was pretty bad, I guess. I mean, this is different, but the media had it on for a week, maybe 2 weeks tops. And then, like, you didn't hear anything else about it.
Yeah.
This is the first time that I've ever seen something, the same topic, be just stretched on the media every night for a continuous 11 months. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, you're 44 years old. Have you seen anything that goes like the swine flu? Like I said, that was just 2 weeks.
There's nothing.
It was over.
This has been the first. This whole. I mean, look. I don't care what side of the fence you are. I don't care if you're left, right, in the middle. I don't care. I don't care who you consider should be the president or not the president. All I know is, looking at through my eyes, 5 years now, I've seen nothing but a mess, a complete political mess.
Oh yeah.
They've done nothing to help President Trump. It's just, and then everything is lined up to this presidential election. I mean, from kids in cages to Stormy Daniels to Russian collusion to Ukraine collusion. Now the virus,
island, Epstein Island.
Now I mean, it's like
there's a lot.
Every it's like then the impeachment, and it was just like boom, 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 and then people like myself who are sort of right but kind of down the middle will listen to people, listen to dialogue, and have an understanding of how people think. It's like, how can I even agree with someone that or a group that's going that far to one side and will not do anything, will do no to stop to help this president or help us as Americans? And this stimulus package, like, are you kidding me? $600.
$600, Mike?
$2,000.
Every cent. That's what they say. We're watching a movie.
You look at the biggest thing for me. It's like handing out rations.
It's a car payment,
It's like
right?
getting in line for your rations. It's
You got your car payment in, and
what is if you got 175 million going to the American people? You got 700 and some million going overseas. Well, come on, man. You want to take that 900 billion and split it up and give everybody 30 grand? Great. Now you're helping somebody else pay their mortgage off. Help them pay some bills. That's making a difference.
you know, it's funny whether you're right or left. I think I saw a Bernie Sanders clip. He was kind of using a Trump tweet to support his position. So I think there's a lot of people on the left more so now that actually, I think it's the first time I've seen left agree with extreme right when it comes to getting the 2,000 instead of the 600, or like you said, even more if you have kids. But every cent of the 600, is that spent, Mike, or what is it?
Put it away for a rainy day.
We have people out there that are starving.
Yeah.
And the $2,000 honestly is not really going to do anything for
Even
them.
that 1,200 back in, what was that, April?
You're not
That'll pay rent for a month. I mean, you go to bigger cities. I mean, 1,200 is like, half your rent.
Just proves how out of touch some of these politicians are, not even knowing what
Yeah.
is a lot and what is a little.
Yeah, like they're all so high up in this food chain that they don't know that 12 or 1,500 or 2,000 is. I mean, it helps, but it's not helping to where it's going to make a difference.
What is it going to help?
I agree with you.
What is it going to help? You don't give handouts. You create opportunity.
Yeah. I'd rather be taught to fish.
I'd rather
than be handed a fish.
I'd rather see businesses flourishing, country moving. I'd rather see every American. And the number one topic that I have always asked people on both sides of the fence: we fail with the education system in this country.
Yeah, you
We're
were
the
talking
worst.
about that on
If you want to help this country, let's educate every child. Let's give them the best opportunity, and that comes through filling out a resume and being able to get a job. Going to college, hey, you want to go to college, you want to spend your money, go ahead. I'll tell you, trades are the way to go. I'm a tradesman. I've been doing it for 25 years, and I haven't missed a dollar yet. There's during that little recession back in 7, 8, and 9. Okay, yeah, I took a pay cut, but
But you always have work. I mean,
never stop.
What is a kid gonna do with a sociology degree from Rutgers?
Cry about us paying his debt.
So the college. College. I don't want to say it's a scam. I mean, unless you're going to school for something specialized, I don't have you have a son. I don't. But if I had a son, I mean, the trade at this point, trade is, in my opinion, is the way to go. I see it every day when I do my side business. I'll bring me and my helper Tommy, or whoever I have helping me that day. We'll go into a house, bring a washer dryer in, or something that might need basic assembly. You got a 35-year-old grown man, probably white collar, and he's paying pretty good price, and he doesn't know how to plug in or install a washer or dryer. Yeah. And I think to myself, that's where the opportunity is. If nobody knows how to do anything, because they all went to college to learn about sociology, I think the value is in learning how to do the things all the college kids don't know how to do. I mean, you're handy. You do electric. I mean, you could buy a washer and dryer, and I'm pretty sure you don't need to call me to install it. Is that fair to say?
I have about 8 trades under my belt.
Yeah.
I've spent years in construction, from roofing, siding, windows, doors, electric, plumbing, HVAC. I mean, I will never stop. Concrete work. I'll always stay busy. I can run machinery, small machinery. I mean, I'll never stop working. I'll never stop being able to feed my family. And I look at these kids. They got these big college debts. And I look at them and I said, "What do where's your job? What you advanced to?" And they're still living in their parents' house.
Yeah,
at 30, 40 years old,
mid-30s. It's happening.
I mean, I had my own place at 21. I was already living on my own, my wife and I. But I mean, we made it. But it's not an easy life though either. Construction's not easy.
It's labor. I mean, it's a give and take. You want to work with your brain or your back, but I just think in the grand scheme of things, what I've been seeing in the last few years is people are getting lazier. People don't know how to, anything that has to do with building or using their hands, they don't know how to do it, or they don't want to be involved. I don't know how they were raised, but I see it every day. They're successful, I guess. They have, big properties in whatever town, and I go into their house, but they're paying a premium for a service that you and I or someone that can get their hands dirty knows how to do. That's just one less expense you have. You don't have to pay someone to go install something. You'll do it yourself.
Yep.
And I think there's value in teaching your kids that. Even if your son goes and gets a degree, you still want to let him know, be multifaceted. Have the degree, use your brains, study the books, be kind of, intellectual there, but also use your hands. So when you have your big house and your big job, you can build your own stuff and you don't have to hire anybody. I just think it's always good to know how to, I don't care if you're a lawyer, doctor, or, plumber, always good to know how to use your hands. That's what I would teach my kid.
Learn everything. I learn everything. My kids too. Same thing with my kids. Is we're learning everything. I teach them electric. I teach them construction. I teach them how to work on cars. I mean, that's just what I do. I mean, they're going to be able to, my kid may be able to split an atom, but he's going to be able to change a tire as well. And that's kind of all I want from my kids. Nothing goes off the table with these guys.
So what do you think of, speaking of kids, what do you think of, and I wanted to talk to you about this more on Christmas, like the attention span of people and now like TikTok and all these apps where, and it's funny, TikTok and all these apps, they're smart because they're targeting the weakness of everyone, which is attention span. 8-second videos, and that's all the attention you're going to get from these kids, but that's where they're being entertained. So, both of your kids are probably using those platforms. What do you think of how that is going to affect them when they're older, that generation, with just having technology in their hands at all times?
Well, that's something I need to learn as well, because, I get caught up in my world, using social media a little too much. So I can't really, I'm not going to be a hypocrite.
But you're in your 40s. You weren't around it since birth. This generation's going to be handed stuff since birth. You know what it was like to live with knocking on the door as Stacy home, talking to their father, walking up to opening the car door. Now it's texting me, I'm here. You live both worlds. So I think.
Yeah, I think we're up against it. It's going to be tough. I mean, not my kids. I hope. I think it's like the new drug. It's social media is there's kids out there that like that. That's their life. That's their world. I could see it. It's almost like I see a video of like a cell phone and it has like the IV vein.
Ever see that one?
Yeah, I mean that stands true. I mean, but again, I mean I can't be a hypocrite in life. I try not to be a hypocrite. I need to fix my own issues when it comes to social media. So if I want to fix my children, I need to start with myself. It starts with me. And that's why my son and I and my daughter, we're doing more things
outdoors.
We're trying to put away
human interaction. I think the social skills have completely diminished.
My daughter was afraid to go. A friend of hers was afraid to go up to the house and knock on the door. I'm like,
that's what you do.
Go knock on the door. Well, I'll text her first. No, go knock on the door.
Like, no, I'm here. Text.
I'm here. Like,
send those money.
Yeah.
Text ding dong.
Yeah, no, it's bad, and it's the social interaction, the social skills. I think have I discuss this with my friends all the time. I have a good friend of mine. He's a single guy. He's trying to navigate the dating world, as am I. I'm not going to be shy about it. And he tells me all these stories that are very relatable. I can attest to them. He tries to meet these girls, and they don't want to talk on the phone, and they want, like you said the other night, they want to just text. And it's let's meet up, let's go out to dinner, let's do something. Let's not. I think it's going to become even more of a problem. I mean, these are 25 to 35-year-old adults that fell into this trap.
Yeah.
Imagine the 15-year-olds when they're in their 20s trying to meet a partner, trying to date. I mean, I don't, you met your wife at the right time. I'm sure you don't envy anybody that's trying to navigate this digital social media dating world.
If I had to try to date in this day and age, I'd be in trouble, man. I mean, I'd be in trouble. I need that social interaction. I call people. People get mad when I call them and not text them.
Yeah.
Like
hang up. Why'd you call me? Hang up and text me.
Text me.
Hang up and text me in 2 seconds.
I
tell me what you were gonna say anyway.
When I was younger, we called people, dude. Like we had a rotary phone, bro. We were dead,
I was knocking on doors. I mean, I still call people. I'm from, as Richie April says, I'm from the old school.
Yeah. That's true.
So, but no, it's crazy. I have, like I said, a good friend of mine. He's trying to tell me all these like dating stories, and he sends me the screenshots and the personalities. There's none. They want to text all day about nothing, and none of them ever want to actually, like you said, I have a strong personality. I don't really have the patience for, you're probably the same way. I don't really have the patience for all that. The games, the back and forth. Like, let's just meet. Let's do what we're gonna do. Let's enjoy time and life together. Not be on a fantasy. Everything on the phone is a fantasy. It's fake. It's not real life. And I think everyone's way
That's
too
where it
consumed with it.
starts. I'm not knocking online dating, okay, but that's where it begins right there. I mean, you need a phone and an account, an online account to meet someone. Look where it's going. Like going out immediately. Where do you meet people anyway? A bar? Who wants to go to a bar? Can't go to bars anyway. But
right.
Let's say pre-COVID.
Right. Even then, it was still.
You want to meet a girl in a bar? You're already knocking on the wrong door.
Because what do you mean? Because the girl is going to say, "Well, what are you doing, coming up to me in person? Go home and find me on social media and message me."
No, what I mean is, what I'm saying to you is, most women that go to bars, you're not meeting your lifetime lover at a bar.
Right. The quality.
You're not. It's just you're. That was who was with her last week. Not saying, or who were you with last week?
Right.
It goes both ways, please. I'm not saying it's one way or the other.
Right.
That's the wrong place to meet. And then let's go to church now. Again, you have to be a specific person to go and meet someone at a church. So where do you go to meet people?
I would say Panera Bread, Barnes and Noble. You go into the fiction section.
I'll tell you,
a lot of good romance stories.
I say it again, man. Fitness World, not typical gyms, but like OCR and CrossFit facilities.
It's more of like a community.
Yeah, where you can there is singles that lie within there, and they're toolish too, both sides, men and women. But you tend to find better quality people, because if you're going to work on yourself, sometimes it's a little vain. But if you're going to put time into yourself, then you have the inner.
Well, there's more of a commonality too. You and that person both are into. Clearly, you're into the same type of stuff, fitness.
I mean, you go to a typical gym. You got that one female that's walking around the gym. You got 10 guys following her. You're not going to meet. You're not going to meet her.
Right.
But if you're in the community, and you meet someone that is single, then there's your chance to finally meet someone that possibly could go that direction. And that's what it's all about for me. It's about being with one person. I just couldn't do that dating thing.
It's a lot. I mean, it's
tough, man.
I feel like if you don't meet the high school sweetheart at 17, the chances go down drastically for if you're going to find that one. You're might go through your whole 20s, a decade of juggling and trying to find someone. And I think meeting someone with that foundation, they have higher success, I guess, than meeting someone after high school that you might maybe on those apps. I don't know. I've never really dated anyone on an app.
Yeah.
But I think the success rate. I don't know. I just think it's better to meet someone in with more of a wholesome connection, like each other from the same town.
I heard some other females say, you marry your first guy for love, you marry the second one for money. Well, if you're already thinking like that, I wouldn't want you anyway. Like,
who said that?
Just generally speaking, I heard that recently.
Right.
I heard it recently. A female say that. She's probably in her mid-20s. Say, well, yeah, you married the first one you love. You married the first one for love. You married the second one for money. Well, your thinking has already failed.
And then you cheat on the second one for the first one for love.
To go back.
You got the money. Now you got the guy that you want.
So it's
nobody wins there.
No. I mean, that mindset right there is what we are today as society. I mean,
everyone has a lot of options. It's the apps. You can go on and forever about those, because it's the psychology of the instant gratification. Just somebody's liking my pic, somebody's giving me attention.
Yeah.
I think the problem with the next generation, I don't want to say problem, but I think a concern is the constant need for that attention. Like you said, it's like the drug in the vein. The drug is, how much attention can you shoot into my arm? That's kind of the only thing that's satisfying people is
but I need
attention.
To fix my children, to even have a chance for my children, I need to fix myself. And that's just the way that is.
Right.
Because I feel that I reach for my phone probably just as much as my kids do. And that's the truth.
And so she obviously has a phone.
Yeah, all of them have phones.
And he. So what do you think as a parent? Again, I don't have kids. I don't know. What do you think's the appropriate age to give a kid a phone? Like 10, 11, 15?
Well, he's
I
my
don't know.
son's getting out with his buddy, and they're going out. If they go and ride their bikes, I need to get a hold of them. So I think 10, 11 years old. I mean, I never had a phone that young, so
Yeah, I mean,
it's
none
kind
of us
none of
did.
us did. So I
Maybe when the street lights went off.
Yeah, that
so
was
you
bad.
need to come home. But back then we have to worry about.
My first phone was the Nokia with the snake. Remember that game Snake?
Yeah.
I mean, you might not even know what that is. So Snake was a game where the snake moves and it keeps growing, and you eat the apples, and then if it hits the walls, you're out. It's that.
We'll show the audience.
Yeah, show Mike with the editing. Put a clip on there. Put a note for the thumbnail. So yes, anybody I guess that's under 25 might have to look at that visual.
My wife and I used to have Nextel. The two-way talk. So that was like
It's just like a chirp.
when we first got into phones. That was like the hot item.
It was like the chirp thing.
Yo, where you at?
They call it a chirp.
Chirp.
Yeah.
We had the Nextels. Originally had the big ones, and they started to downsize.
Yeah.
And then we had the flip guys, and then that was like our group.
Yeah, I had that Nokia. And I was already in high school at the time. I was probably freshman, sophomore in high school. That was when I got a phone.
Yeah.
And then it went to that with the Razor, and then like I think shows how old I am. The iPhone didn't come. I was already out of high school when the iPhone came out. But apparently that makes me like with someone that's in their early 20s. That sounds old,
Yeah.
and I'm not even old, and that sounds old to them.
Because we're not young anymore, bud.
I mean,
We're not young anymore. You look young, but we're not young anymore. We were just talking about that today. I can't believe my daughter's 15. I mean, it felt like yesterday I was bringing her home. I'm not even kidding.
And what's that? She sophomore in high school, junior, freshman?
She's a
One of
freshman.
one of those three.
She's a freshman. Yeah, it felt like yesterday I brought her home. Like it was snap.
And then now she's dating and all that. How does, as a father, because I guess a fear having a daughter is you're always going to think, how do I protect my daughter? How's that been?
For me, I was strong. I tried to have tough love with her in the beginning.
Okay.
And it's not going to work that direction. So I'm trying to find that.
Oh, that there was a resistance to that.
Well,
It wasn't effective.
No. I don't know. It's in the beginning. My wife and I weren't co-parenting. Like we had two different methods, and not that hers was wrong. That mine was wrong. But we didn't see eye to eye in how we parented our daughter. But now I had to give a little bit. I did. I had to like kind of back off a little to try to get back into the middle with both of them, and I think that's working. And yeah, I'm being a little bit more lenient now to her understanding because she is going through her changes. So I don't know those changes, so I can't, as a father, as a male, as a person,
right,
I can't really relate to her in what she's going through. So I leave that portion up to my wife, and all I try to do is try to be a good father and when
supportive and all.
Yeah, if she's
things.
bothered, she's bothered every day. I mean, let's just be honest. It's like a roller coaster.
Well, I think that's what a teenager's supposed to do.
Yeah,
is hate their parents every other day, and love them, and then hate them.
She doesn't really go through that. She has her own thing that she deals with. Excuse me. She has her own thing that she deals with, and it's like a complete roller coaster. It's like up and down, up and down, up and down. And then some days she's up, some days she's down, some days she's up, and that's just being 15. I believe it's because she's.
But just thinking, like in 10 years, she's 25. All those up and down. Her brain's developed.
Yeah.
It's just time. That's all it is.
But me being overly strong and not having a little sensitive side to her, I think like some parents won't recognize that. They'll continue to do it, and there you get that break off point. And I'm not going to have that break off point. And when she's in a few years, she's going to see me as what she sees me. She's like, about a year ago, she said something to me and almost brought tears in my eyes. She's like, "Dad, you've set the tone to what a father and a husband should be.
Oh wow!
Like you've set the bar high." And hearing that from she was 13, 14 at the time. Hearing that, I was like, "What?" Like I was blown away because she recognizes that. She can acknowledge that. She's registering that in her brain, and that's crazy for me. Being that young and understanding. Yeah, this is how you treat a woman. This is how she's supposed to be treated. She's number one. Yeah, my wife isn't weak, but she's precious, and that's how you have to be.
Right.
She can do things. She doesn't need me. She can do this on her own.
Right, you taught her to be smart. Hopefully, she's smart enough. She sounds smart. That,
Yeah.
you know, she doesn't. She can be independent, but also know that she knows how a guy should treat a girl.
And she's
And
at
that's
the
the
age,
example you tried to set.
she's at the age right
Right.
now where it's you know, she's young. You know, she's got a boyfriend, but again, it's a roller coaster. I mean, who
Yeah.
knows what tomorrow's going to be? Who
Right,
knows what
right.
next? She goes back to high school next year. You know, who knows what's going to happen? You're
Are they? Is how's the? I mean, I can't keep up. How's the schools?
we're total remote right now.
Oh, it's all at home. It's pretty
everybody's-
much like home schools.
Everybody's home. They get their reports and stuff online, and they just do.
So
their
I wonder how that's going to affect
it's-
that age group, because you have to go to recess and lunch and out to school every morning and leave the house. Like, that's, as a kid, you gotta. I mean, I can't see any benefit coming from the not letting the kids be in school.
This is where we're losing. I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, right? But that's got to affect these kids. I mean, that interaction is everything. You know, going to school, meeting people. You know,
Oh, no, it
especially
helps develop you.
Like high school, she'll be going. She'll be going to a high school near us in a few different towns. She's gonna be meeting new people, different kids. Like, she's like, I don't have any friends. I said,
Ned, if you don't have any friends, and like now's the worst time more than ever, you're not in school meeting people.
No.
It's you're on a lap to Zoom bullshit.
Yep.
And your mom's in the background in the kitchen making sure you're doing your Zoom. Am I right? Like,
I really believe my son is going to be different. Like, I believe that when he's a funny character, man.
he's always asking for my nephew, my cousin, John Luca and Marco. I guess they're boys. I guess they always hang out on holidays. He's always asking for them.
Yeah, they look alike, actually. They like.
Yeah, they
like,
do.
They all resemble each other.
all
It's weird.
all us Italians, right?
We all look alike. Nah, but he's a good kid, man, and I think he's gonna be. I really think he's gonna be fine. It just we're looking to eventually move into another location. Still stay in Jersey, but I think he'll be all right. You know, it's the daughters and right now. Girls, they're in this day and age right now, especially at that age, everything's TikTok, like you said.
Oh,
like
man.
they see what
Even people, I'm 31, and everyone's, they get off your phone. Like,
every
it's not that interesting.
female that I see at the gym,
Oh,
most gyms, it's
vanity.
It's the back door, dude. Like,
It's-
the back door, the back door.
You know,
back door.
everything is an excuse to take a picture, and we're all guilty of it.
All
like you
guilty.
said,
I'm
I don't
guilty.
throw stones in a glass house.
Heck no.
But everything is an excuse to, oh, I'm at the gym. Well, everybody needs to see how good I look at the gym. Oh, I have this delicious brunch avocado toast at First Watch. Everybody
I've
needs to see how cool I am getting brunch. Oh, I'm on the beach that everybody's seen since they were a kid. It's sand and water. I got to take a picture of this because no one's seen this before. So it's like, and it's funny that actually this past summer I was on the beach with a couple of friends. We were just walking, just trying to enjoy a day off, and it's cringeworthy. So we're walking, and like right where the water, right where the sand's hard and by the water.
Yeah.
So we're walking, and I look over to our right, and there's a girl standing there like doing whatever pose, and then she had another friend like on one knee doing the photos. Oh no, it gets worse. And then there was the third friend doing the splashing the water on the pictures. And I'm with my friend Lou and Spence, and I look over, and I'm thinking to myself, like I was like mortified for these girls. 'Cause, I mean, the beach was packed, so every Tom, Dick, and Harry is looking and seeing this behavior that 20 years ago people would have been like, what the fuck is wrong with them? But that's it. Like that's the psychology. They do all that so that they can put it on social media, so people that they're never going to meet can validate how hot they are. Oh, well, I got 600 likes and 82 comments. Well, that's all. That's what I wanted. Like, is that like that's the drug? It's the validation that you're the greatest thing on earth. That's all people want, apparently. That's what social media created, I think.
Today's world is different from when we grew up. I mean, that's the truth. I
remember my 20s and
I
teens.
remember, you know, back we used to go to this Adzon Lake. You know, when I was
down
a kid.
in Chemung.
Down in Chemung.
Yeah,
I mean,
I've been
we were
there.
15 years old. My daughter's age. They're 15. We're 15. You know, canoeing, meeting girls, hooking up in the corner. You know what I mean? Like, just being like thinking about that today. That's not what we are. That's not what it is today.
They're not playing jailbreak and making out in the bushes. That was my go-to. The bushes. Let's go hide over here. The cops won't find us in here. And then what's your name? Oh, Marissa. All right, let's make
kiss.
out. Boom. And then you go home and you're not like on social media like looking for Facebook. You're just like, oh, maybe I'll see her next time.
I wish I had that girl's number.
Like I remember. So you had to call that. You could attest to it. I would have to call the house. And like you got to call it was no cell phones. I remember I'm old enough to know I would have to get the phone number of their house and call.
Yeah.
And then like if the dad answered, I got to talk to the old man and say, "Hey, is Michelle home?" And then hold on one second. Like that was what we were doing.
I remember one time this young lady, actually she paged me on a beeper. Right, that's when we had beepers.
Yep.
This young lady, she beat me, and I was with another young lady on a beach at the Watering Hole in Winslow. We're all hanging out drinking. It's like I don't even know. It was a weekend night, and I get this number and I look at it and I'm like, man, that really looks like this girl. It looks like this girl I used to know, Nicole Johnson's number. I'm looking at it and I'm like, I gotta go, dude. And my buddy, I'm like, yo, man, take me to Cedarbrook Liquor, so I gotta make a phone call, because they have payphones.
Yeah,
right?
you gotta go payphones. You gotta grab a landline.
Yeah, I was like, hello, and there it was, my future wife beeping me, and I'm like, I was with another female, and I'm like, yo, I gotta go. I never see you again, and I walked away. That was it, dude. Boom, that was done.
So she clearly was the better draft pick.
Oh, definitely, man. Oh, I was in love with her before she even knew it.
Right, like she was sitting in geometry class. She was over there.
Dude, I just see her in the hallway, man. I'm like, I love that girl. Man, I love that girl.
See, that's. I mean, it's you see that, and you know, I don't say you got lucky, but no, there was luck involved that you found someone that you don't have to deal with.
She thought I was annoying.
Yeah, I mean,
let's be honest, she really did. She thought I was she said obnoxious. She would say, you were, but I want to say the first time
obnoxious. I mean, does she see you at the Christmas parties?
But she adores it now. But here's the funny thing about it. I don't want to say it because her mom might hear us.
Oh yeah.
We got to keep things quiet.
We got Mike editing. So
the first time we met each other, well, I had the clothes off. The first time she knew I was the one.
Was this an Atzion Lake?
No. This is actually my buddy's basement. She left her prom date. I left my prom date. We actually went separate prom dates. Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, that happens. Yeah. So 17, 16, 18, whatever.
Yeah, I think we were 17 years old. But
yeah, and now it's just it's funny because I'm the age where everything I was like right in the middle of it during the transition.
Yeah.
Like my first few years, I guess, when you're old enough to like talk to girls and all that shit. It was the landlines, it was calling the house, it was knocking on the door, and it started to switch right like my first few years into the game. It switched into internet, AOL, then it evolved to the phones.
Remember AOL?
So I was like I was like on the back. I saw both. I was like involved in the transition.
Yeah, you were still old school yet.
Yeah. So now it's harder for me to. How we doing with the? Because we're rolling. Can you keep rolling? So I was and it's harder for me now to, like you said the other night, to try to deal with like people on the just texting. Like, what are we going to talk about? Like, just let's go do something and talk about that. Let's create an experience.
How is texting with a female creating a relationship?
It doesn't do anything for me.
A bond? Like, because I tell you, once you see these people, they get married, right?
Right.
They meet each other within a year. They're married a couple months later, and then they're divorced 2 years later.
Yeah,
right?
I've seen it.
Let me tell you, you have to live with someone to really know who they are.
Yeah. People rush into it.
Like people do take craps, right? You got to wake up in the morning, you got to take a crap, right? Like, oh, you crap? Like, yeah.
Thumbnail, Mike. Thumbnail.
I mean, you crap? Yeah. Like, well, I eat tacos on Tuesday, and it kills me. Well, now I have to smell it, and I don't love you anymore.
Oh,
like,
God. I mean, see, not to be vulgar or crude, but like this smell. This is going to be funny. The thing you said, smell. Like that's for me. That's the biggest turnoff. Like I never. See, I'm still in that bachelor lifestyle. So like I haven't really
Oh, I love it, man.
settled. I haven't really lived long term with a girl. So a girl does anything more than sweat from a workout, I'm like, I got to get used to it. But you know,
I love it, dude. I love it, man. That's a relationship.
I gotta get,
yo, dude.
I'm gonna have so eventually I'm gonna have to
Get past that.
That's an adjustment.
You got to get past that because there it is, Rick. If you really want to know someone who they are, you got to block all that out, man. I mean, that's nonsense.
And I guess once you do, like you said, once you love someone, like it's not doesn't matter what they do, their off day or their good day.
Yeah.
You look past all that. The love trumps everything.
There's not. I mean, even the worst days, it doesn't change a thing.
Yeah,
you know, because not every day's perfect, man. You know, marriage is one of the toughest tasks because we're both different, but we're both the same. At least that's what I think. Like, marriage is if you're not working together, it's not going to work. You have to give things up. You have to be. You have to be honest because, we're different people. We have different opinions. We have different ways we do things. But we have to. At the end of the day, we have to come together. On a lot of life decisions, it can change. It can alter our relationship if we don't, and that's where a lot of people fail at because they get married, but then when they realize, oh, well, I got to give up, X, Y, Z. Well, yeah, because X, Y, Z comes between this.
Right, it's give and take. It's two-way street.
You have to,
I think a lot of people don't live on a two-way street. They want to be on the one-way. And there's no wiggle room. They want to do everything. There's no negotiation, and no one's going to want to be with that person. So I learned in navigating that world, I'm going to have, and I learned, and I know I can do it. There is give and take. I will have to give up things, and then just like I think it's a two-way street. The girl or the other partner should also have to compromise and let you win your battle. You want to do this, and she wants to do that. Well, all right. Well, it's his turn. There's sometimes people, it's just my way or the highway, and it's a lot more people are becoming like that because I don't know what the root cause is, but I'm seeing it. When I go out and meet women, it's one-way streets. It's everything's on their terms, and I feel like, well, that's just a microcosm of what the long term will be.
Yep.
You're with them 10 years, you realize 10 years go by. I did everything. This was her. She wrote this whole script.
That's not fair.
No, both parties need to write part of the script.
From day one, from this whole 25 years, we've done everything together. So from the good days to the bad days to the horrible days to the long nights, you know what I mean? We don't want to get into long nights, but and then children, it was the right time, She didn't ever even want Nikki didn't even want to have kids. She didn't want to get married. I guess her past, her family, whatever, she just didn't want to do that. And I did. Who knew when we got to that we got to that age of 25, 26, I started to wake up like, hey, let's have children. And at first she's no, I don't want to do that. And then one day she came up to me and said, okay, let's go. And it was the best decision we ever made because our kids are great, our family's great.
Yeah.
Everything we've done. But I get why. I mean, even I was in a broken home too. You see things. Parents have children young. They had me. In my case, it had me late. I mean, there's a lot of stories of why people don't want to have children. But those kids saved my life. My daughter saved my life. Right? She saved my life. And our world, even today, is as with fitness. Her and I, man, we kill it.
Your daughter or your wife?
No, me and my wife. And we kill it, man. Like, and we're 44, going on 44 years old. And I couldn't even tell. We're in there, we're pounding away.
You'll run circles around some 25-year-old punk.
Well, there's some athletes out there. I'll never downgrade anyone. There's athletes of all ages. I mean, I remember, 3 years ago I did a race. I did a lot of OCR obstacle course racing, and I was up in Scranton Mountain.
So now explain that for the listeners. OCR, explain
all right,
what that is.
Obstacle course racing. If you've heard Spartan, Tough Mudder, Savage, Bone Frog, Battle Frog. They're basically terrain, miles, hills with obstacles. It's nothing fancy. They have long ones. They have ones that 5Ks, 10Ks, 15Ks,
right.
so on. Well, back in I was in 15, 16, 17. I was in the best shape of my life. I mean, athletically, I was in the best shape of my life. I was at the top of my class at my age bracket.
In baseball, was it baseball? What were you playing?
I was playing baseball as well. Yes.
Baseball in high school. Baseball and football.
No, I actually stopped. I stopped playing. I played baseball in high school. I stopped football in sophomore year. I stopped football. I played baseball through high school, and then I stopped until I went back in 07. I didn't go back to baseball till 2007.
So you and Nikki, you guys do the obstacle courses together. You guys do a lot of the stuff together. And who finishes first and on the obstacle course? You or who's faster?
She's a gazelle.
She's good. She's quick.
She does good, man. At first, she'd give me a lot of heat because I wanted her to push her. Like I push her. Come on. She'd get mad at me, and then we'd fight a little bit. So the last time we did a race, we actually had fun together. Usually it's like, I'm trying to push her because I know she has more. And it's tough, man. You're in there, it's hot or whatever. And,
it's raining, wind,
yeah, a lot going on.
The elements.
Yeah, it's a lot going on. And, and then she has her crazy husband saying, come on, you can do better than this. And then, of course, she wants to. But but now I'm making a better approach with it. I have a better approach with it. More of a kid gloves. And she's doing really well, man. I'm proud of her.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So speaking of athletes, I want to talk birds real quick.
Oh boy.
Just NFL overall. NFL.
The great sports debate.
Yeah. Just want to talk NFL because now the Eagles. For the listeners that are going to be in Philly local area, we'll talk Eagles. We're both avid Eagles fans. I saw an article the other day on Twitter. It was saying, again, who knows what's true on the internet, but it was saying that Peterson's going to try to keep developing with Wentz and next season. Like, so this offseason, they're going to try to regain that chemistry. What do you think? Is it Hurts time? Is it Wentz time? What's the future? What's 2021 season looking like?
If this football team doesn't figure out the offensive line issues, it doesn't matter who your quarterback is. You'll never win a championship.
Right.
They have a
running for your life.
They have a problem there at those positions. Center needs to be replaced. Jason Kelsey's getting older. I don't know if they bring him back one more year. They draft a center/guard this year to sit next to him, take over in the future. Left tackle, you have Dillard. They don't really know where he is with that. So now you need to know, do we have a left tackle? Our right tackle seems to be getting injured. He's a great player. I love Lane Johnson. I think he's one of the best in the league, but he can't stay healthy. So there's those things. And then you got Brooks as well. So I think they have to really focus this season on obviously getting a skill player offensively, but they need to really put some time that this offensive line is struggling. That's the reason why Carson Carson holds the ball.
So he's still. So would you say? Is it fair to say he's a talent? He's a talent. Is he a talented quarterback? He just was in a bad situation for his specific skill set, or is he not good? Like, what side of that fence are you on? Is he not as lived up to that second pick, or is he good? Just he needs a better system that fits him.
I think Carson's a good quarterback.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with Carson. My problem with him is the way he holds the ball a little too much. I'd like to see him dump off a little more. But with that being said, it's hard to do that when you got guys in your face. And who is he dumping off to? Miles Sanders can't catch the ball out of the backfield. So
he's no Dalvin Cook or any of those.
These guys, and that's another thing. Your upper management have swift on many players.
Jefferson, DK.
The list goes on. Running backs. I mean, the year that they drafted Sidney Jones, I think there was 3 running backs on the board, and Dalvin Cook was Dalvin Cook.
So he was on the board. So we missed him.
It's been since 2013. They've only had one player make the Pro Bowl, and that was Carson Wentz. Make the Pro Bowl that they drafted since 2013.
Oh, right. Because Cox makes it.
Yeah, he was 12.
Yeah,
and Ertz and all those guys were a little bit further ahead.
Right,
but it's a problem for me. I mean, Doug Peterson. I was really mad at him. I was upset about it on the New Orleans Saints game because he won the game with. I was really mad that they won that game, not because they beat the Saints, because. If you could beat the Saints with a rookie quarterback, why couldn't you help your seasoned veteran? Like you won the Super Bowl with a backup.
It just showed how inept Peterson was handling Wentz, but because he won with Hurts against the Saints defense.
And I looked at all.
I see what you're saying.
The big picture. You beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. You beat the best offensive player in the NFL. I mean,
Big Dick Nick. Let's go.
If Brandon Graham didn't strip that ball, he would have scored and won that football game.
They would have still had to get the 2-point conversion. Don't forget.
Okay, well that's Tom Brady. So I'm not saying anything off the field.
Well, then it's overtime and then advantage Patriots. Of course, in
so
overtime.
What I'm saying is, if you can do all that with a quarterback that can't stay healthy, then you should be able to work with the quarterback that you have.
Here's a stat that I think that you're going to have a reaction to if you don't already know the stat. I was reading it was some stat that popped up. It said DK Metcalf has more touchdowns this year than RJ Whiteside has receptions ever.
Yeah.
I mean, that's and DK was available. Just think about that. Let that sink in.
Why are we passing on these players? What are they? I mean, let's talk
And
about
Jefferson's a stud. You didn't have enough tape on Jefferson. I mean, LSU. He was like Randy Moss down there. I mean, where do you not see the talent in Jefferson? And then he proved himself in Minnesota this year, I think.
I listened on the radio right before the season started, and we're not going to go politics here, but I am going to make a point. All I heard that came out of Jeffrey Lorion's mouth was vote.
Right.
Open polls at vote.
The NFL was shoving a lot of agendas.
Okay, vote. This is the most important election in history, right? And that's fine. Okay, but that product you put on the field this year was pathetic. You spent more time wearing. And listen,
do your job. Your job is to create a good product, which is a good team.
Our fans deserve the best. We're there no matter what. When it's 5-11, we still think we can make the playoffs. That's just how we think.
We were in the playoffs up until last week.
So we deserve the best product that you can give us. We were there, we're loyal, and we can't help that COVID took fans out of the stands. That's not our problem. The problem that I'm saying is you want to push voting, you want to push that agenda, you want to push that.
You still also have to do your job, which is deliver your product. That's like you go to a restaurant and they're pushing vote, but they bring out your steak and it's frozen. It's like you still got to I still have to have a quality product in front of me. It's great. You want to push the vote.
You can see that this talent, the talent that they have, wasn't going to win. You're not beating Aaron Rodgers on the road.
We would have had to go. We would have had to play LA maybe, and then go to, and then if we won that game, we would have to go to Green Bay in the snow. Rodgers. It's just that's if we won the home game, which probably
this is the problem is you spent this whole summer, and I don't want to for your listeners, I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but it was all about social.
That's what the chat with Pat's all about. It's about hurting feelings. So go ahead.
Well, I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but it's like everybody was worried about social justice.
Yeah.
It was all about social justice. And listen, Black lives matter, white lives matter, everybody matters. So in my opinion, you spent all that time worrying about that, and you gave us a pathetic product. At the end of the show, look at it. This team's horrible. This team's not winning next year or the following year.
Hurts. I mean,
who are we building around?
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Who are you going to sit there and say, we're going to build around that player? Who is it?
Well, I mean, I guess Hurts is Hurts. Does he have that Wilson in him?
Defensively, who do you have that you're going to say that player, we're going to build around that guy? Who is it?
Defensively, it's tough. I mean, you would say Cox, but a nose tackle is tough to really.
He's in his 9th year.
Yeah, he's kind of
right.
Secondary and linebacker. Listen, the secondary and linebackers, they're on par with like a Jaguars or Bengals level type skill. They're bad. Our defense was getting. Can you agree? I think our defense was bad this year.
And that's why the coordinator's not coming back.
They were bad
because they were his choices.
Yeah,
and I like Stewart.
There were times that our secondary couldn't stop a nosebleed. I mean, I was watching teams just. You're not going to give your offense a chance if they're just marching down the field.
In the Super Bowl, we gave up over 500 yards. I mean, we're lucky to win.
That right, because we ended up putting up 40. What was it? 42, 41,
44, 38. Was the final?
Something like So we were over 40 plus. We were lost because we had to put up 40 plus.
It took an Andy Reid player to strip that ball out, and that's Brandon Graham. I'm a BG fan, and I couldn't.
He's funny.
I was so happy that he did that.
You see his. Yeah, that's like his moment.
And that's great because that's going to be he'll never have to buy a cheesesteak in the city again.
Yeah, that's he got them their first. He's basically that play got us our first Super Bowl.
And, I mean that
Probably
way,
our only one for
but you have to give the coordinator credit for putting him on the inside. I mean he
Schwartz. It was Schwartz,
he
right?
stuck him on the inside. Had I forget who had on the end. He had him as a tackle, and he went in. He bull rushed, struck the arm, and the ball came out, and there it was, and that was the story. But I mean, that's not going to happen again. You know, it's a shame, man, because I love this team, and I don't like to talk bad, but it's the truth. You have to be honest.
So Hurts may or may not be the guy. I mean, Hurts. I think he's talented.
I think he trade both of them and draft Trevor Lawrence. That's what I think.
Oh.
I think
you trade up.
I think you trade up and you draft Snowflake from Clemson. I'm a Clemson fan. Man. I like that.
No,
kid.
what's the Sunshine?
Sunshine
From.
I would take him or the kid
Is it what
from
movie is that?
Remember the Titans.
Yeah.
Coach Boone.
Ryan Gosling was a sleeper cornerback in that. Don't forget, he was a good cornerback in that movie.
I actually like the quarterback from Ohio State too. I think he's a talented kid as well.
He just lit up.
Clemson yesterday.
Yeah, that was yesterday.
Yeah. 44 something, 40 some points.
Yeah, they put up some points on them. Yeah, so we'll see what happens with the Birds. I mean, for next year. I mean, so playoffs maybe next year. Playoffs.
No.
Not even playoffs. Not even wild card.
I think this is probably,
no wild card.
No, I don't see them winning 6 games next year.
Oh, it's gonna be a 4-12 like this year. It's gonna be
bad.
5-11.
I mean, you have to do a full roster flip.
And it's like a rebuild period, 2-3 years, maybe.
If they would have, from 17, and after they won the Super Bowl, if they would have cleaned house, got rid of the dead contracts. I mean, I said that from day one. I said that to my wife, too. I think after the Super Bowl, I was like, I hope they clean house now. Like, you got your Super Bowl.
Right now,
clean house.
Now try to build a dynasty for
draft
several
well,
years later.
put guys around your quarterback, and then 2 years down the road, you're a 5-year team. Like you're going to be tough for 5 years.
You're going to be like a Kansas City where you're in the you're relevant for several years.
Give me one offensive player on this team that you could say that guy, an offensive skilled player, not a quarterback. Forget about the quarterback. Who's your skilled players?
You mean
Miles Sanders?
Isn't Greg Ward? Wasn't he on the he was undrafted practice squad? Would they pick him up? Half their receivers weren't even
Kansas State quarterback.
Right. A lot of their skill players were not drafted.
They were not.
I'm pretty sure
players,
a lot of them were.
Is
Deshaun Fulgham? Where did he come from?
He was another. I don't know, but I know that he was a practice.
Was it Old Dominion?
He was on a practice squad.
There was a school that I didn't even know had a football team.
And then he had 2-3 weeks, and everybody thought he was the next TO. I mean, and now I fell out of the game.
Right. Yeah. Everyone had him in fantasy
for 2-3 weeks,
and then nothing.
Then he
goose
fell
egg.
Off. Now I don't know if that's the lack of his ability to run routes, or the quarterback's not getting the ball,
or they figured him out.
Rager can't run a route. Did you see that guy? I've been watching tape on him.
I think Jefferson over Rager. And then 2 years ago, me and my dad watching. You looking at first of all, look at the tape. DK, the guys Megatron and Julio combined.
All combined.
How do you not take that physique? Because you can't teach that. You know, you can't teach that physique. You can teach. You can get him. You can only get better from there. You can't teach that. RJ, I don't even know how to say his name. Whiteside. Just line them up next to each other. You can't teach that physique. This physique is not that good.
My question is, you draft a rugby player with no football skills whatsoever. Now he's playing now.
Right.
4 years later. Okay. You draft a guy that was a project. But you don't take a DK Metcalf because he only played 11 games in college. Well, it doesn't.
That's plenty of tape for me. Look at and I knew he was going to be good because he's tall and.
Who makes these decisions? If you're going to take that project on, this guy's never played a lick of football in his life. You're going to take that project on. Mind you, he was a 6th-round draft pick. Okay, fine. It was at the bottom of the bottom of the barrel. But you're taking that project on. My point is, you're telling me you're not smart enough to draft that wide receiver and make him fill into his shoes. It looked like you don't even have to. It looked like it was just natural. The way he plays the game, I mean, he's only in his 2nd season. I mean, the way he chased that player down.
In Arizona?
Oh, my goodness, man.
Tyreek Hill then did it, I think, last week. What do you think of that kid, Hill?
Oh, it's stud, dude.
He's the fastest.
He's stud. Stud.
He's like built like Metcalf. I mean, he's like a foot shorter than him.
He's a foot shorter.
but he's the same build.
He reminds me like he's not Steve Smith.
Lightning speed.
Steve Smith wasn't as fast, but he reminds me.
Same toughness.
Yeah, he's got that grit.
Same grit.
That grit is.
And they're both real short.
Yeah, Steve Smith was a stud.
Oh, he was great.
He was one of the best in the league. I mean, that guy was when he retired. I was actually sad, because watching them play, it was like that's the kind of guy that
hungry.
That I wanted to be.
It's win or die.
Like, oh heck yeah!
He doesn't back down from anyone. There's players that back down. He doesn't.
That guy would go across the middle, go over the top. Would do anything you ask him. Throw a block.
He gets popped on a crossing route by a linebacker. He'll get right back up.
Golden Tate's like that a little. Golden Tate, right? Golden Tate. He's like that a little bit. He's got that toughness.
Yeah.
He's not.
He'll go up and get it.
He doesn't have this.
He'll take a lick.
Just something. He doesn't have that Steve Smith but he has that same ability. Just kind of a tough dude. I like those. Anquan Bolden, he was another guy.
Right. And Larry Fitz,
Fitz, yeah,
he's been popped and he gets right back up.
Bolden was a tough guy too to get down. He was a tough player. Like these tight end / possession-y guys. I prefer them over finesse guys like a Deshaun Jackson any day of the week. I would take 3 of them over a Jackson any day of the week.
Yeah, because he's got one move. It's a home run.
I heard they're bringing him back based on the fact of his 2 touches that were over 80.
The last week, so that was enough to get him paid pretty much. That was enough to keep his job.
No, I think it's going to be a cut. I think they're going to cut him. I think they're going to cut back his pay. I don't think they're going to come back on his deal.
Okay.
They can't. He spent 2 seasons on IR.
Well, now he is 32,
36. 34, 35. It would be 35.
Jeez. Yeah, he's been in the league. He's been in the league since 08.
2000.
09,
08. He was with the McCoy year.
Yeah, the year where they made it to the NFC. They were a wild card team and they lost
to Arizona.
They lost to Arizona. I remember that.
Yeah, 9-5-1.
Yeah, we were the 6th seed.
They tied the Bengals that year.
Yeah.
Donovan didn't know you could go.
It was a tie. And I remember they were the last. They snuck in as a wild card, and they could have made it to the Super Bowl. I think they were 1 game away.
I think they beat the Cowboys like 44-6 that year.
And then the Giants.
And then the Giants on the road.
And then they went to the road, and I remember that. See, I don't forget playoffs.
You know what's funny is like as much as people don't like him, I loved watching Mike Vick play football, man. Like something about that guy, like the way
Dude, Madden 2004. I mean, if you weren't the Falcons,
you were the knucklehead.
You got it. That's the cheat code. You got to be the Falcons.
I mean, I watched
scramble. 4 Hail Marys scramble every play.
I was there today in the game at the Meadowlands, man. They were down 3 scores, and Brett Selleck was the tight end yet. And I remember I was looking at my brother. I was like, man, we're gonna lose this game. And then it was like a pass over the top to Brett Selleck. Brett Selleck runs it all the way down for a touchdown. I don't know if he scored or got close.
This was the comeback, right?
Comeback was 20-some points in 8 minutes.
31-10.
Yeah.
And 31-10.
They were losing 31-10.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. That's what I mean. It was 31-10.
Yeah, and then they just kept saying it. Then they got the Macklin touchdown, and they were like, "Oh my god!" Then he ran one in. I think he tied it, and then
the Giants had 3 and out. It was all 3 and outs. There was like 7 minutes left.
The defense was beaten at manning up. That's that fourth quarter.
We had to get exactly what happened: 3 and out, score 3 and out, score 3 and out, score 3 and out.
And then they punted to Jackson. Jackson drops it.
Now,
I'm at the 50-yard line.
You were up there. You were up north.
Yeah, I was at the 50-yard line. I remember on the Eagles side, he drops the ball. I'm like, oh my goodness, because we're gonna go to overtime. I think we're going to overtime, right? Scoops it, does like a starter step, and then just like darts like right down the heart of him. And I'm
and then I heard it.
He's gonna go. He's gonna go.
I heard the Joe Buck announcement.
He's gonna go. He's gonna go. And then he kind of ran off to the side a little bit to kill the clock, and we won. And that was a good moment, man. I was a proud Eagles fan.
Yeah, I liked Vic. I mean, a lot of people, and I have a dog. Like I love animals. So like I love Vic, and like I think a lot of people have their opinions about it, and I liked him as a football player, and he served his time, and I mean he's an analyst now, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts on situations like that, like the rehabilitation, the second chances, because clearly. He made some mistakes. He did things that were awful, horrible. Got caught, served his time. is that trajectory, is that something that you support, that you believe in, like that people can get a second chance? Speaking of like his story,
Look,
are some crimes just
no,
listen,
I'm not a judge. There's
Right.
only one judge that I think of, and that's God. So I don't.
Right.
I'm not going to judge anyone in what they do. Like that'll be that'll be between him and God.
Right.
So what he does from the point that he was incarcerated and he gets out, for
Right.
what I see Mike Vick has done since then, I don't have a problem with the guy.
Right,
I mean,
it's what you do after the bonehead decision.
I mean, he there's a lot of guys, a lot of criminals, people that make bad decisions, and then they're repeated offenders, and they go back to their ways. The guy literally spent every dollar he had. He had to give back to the SB. What do they call that? You help me out here.
Yeah, what do you got, Mike? What's that thing called with the SPCA?
The SPCA.
The thing with the
PETA.
All right.
No, is it PETA? No, there's a couple foundations. SPCA.
So he's done. He's walked the walk.
Right.
And now he's on NFL Network, and I enjoy Mike Vick. I mean, I enjoy
he
him.
gives an inside look.
So he's for me. It's fine.
What did you think of Aqib Talib doing the Cardinals Eagles? That was Talib in the booth. That was Aqib.
Oh, actually,
that was him in the booth.
Yeah, that's right. You know
with
what?
the Cardinals.
At first, he shocked me. Right? I'm like, who is this
And
guy?
then they showed him. I'm like, oh, that's
he
Aqib.
grew on me. Like
Yeah,
as the game, I was like, I love the fact that my man was real. Like then the week later, we had someone.
He got better.
The week later, we had last week's game. I'm saying to my wife, I'm like, this guy's getting on my nerves. Like he was so biased.
Oh, it was a Cowboys game, right?
Yeah,
right.
he was a New Orleans linebacker. I looked it up. Vilma.
Yeah.
I'm like, this guy's getting on my nerves. Like,
Speaking of
give him
bias-
to lead back.
I know Talib's good. Speaking of that game, the fumble with his knee. Did you know what I'm talking about with the knees down?
Yeah.
Oh my God! I was on the phone with my dad. I was like, how did they not overturn that? That was both knees were down. The ball was tucked.
All right. Well, here's a stat.
Unbiased. I don't care if I hated the Eagles.
Here's a stat
I'm
here.
saying
Think about it. There was 4 possessions they failed on prior to that fumble. So I'm not. Yeah, that was a misplay by the referees. I don't know how they. It looked like the ball was.
we still had life because if we scored and
Yeah.
3 and out, we could
But
tie.
if
We
you
could
look
take
at
the lead.
But my point is they didn't. That whole football game, as soon as they crossed that 50, it felt like they were kicked the false starts, holdings,
just
false starts.
dumb.
So
They
even
beat themselves.
before the fumble, even before that
Right.
fumble, it just felt like that this team either A was trying to lose on purpose or B just couldn't get it together. And that falls under the coach. I mean, we're going to go back to the coach, but
Play calls are bad. I mean, I think what Andy Reid is doing. I mean, Peterson was under Andy for a while. He's got.
Andy had bad years too.
But yeah, but
Andy had bad years too.
I guess right now, just to play watching the Chiefs, even though they're winning games, they're finding ways to win, and they're the ways the Eagles would lose a game, the Chiefs are finding ways to win those games.
And we had that in the Super Bowl season.
Right. I guess it's just you got, like you said, all the stars got to align, and there is some luck involved to get that far.
This all comes down to drafting. I mean, you can't plug and play like Slay. He's another player. They bring a guy over.
I was never big on him in Detroit when he was. That's my hot take. Like, yeah, first of all, he was on Detroit. I mean, they were never known to have a good defense. Like, I was never big on Slay. That's my opinion.
All the players, and I don't have. Schwartz won a Super Bowl. I mean, he'll again, another guy. I'll never buy a cheesesteak in this town.
Schwartz.
It's okay.
How about Peterson with writing his book? What's it called? Fearless.
I like. You know what? I'm gonna give Doug. I know that I'm beating him up a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give him if they have a nice draft this year. If they do well in the draft, they bring a couple players in. Maybe they're an 8-18. But I just be honest with you, the way I see it right now, this roster that we have coming back next season, if this was the roster that they're going to put on the table, this team's not going to win. They're not beating a Seattle. They're not beating an Aaron Rodgers. Not beating Saints. Well, Saints.
Even with that's still a tough.
It's a tough game.
It's a tough game.
I mean, you didn't even beat a backup quarterback in Donald. If you think about it, they only beat one starting quarterback this year. 4 wins. They beat the quarterback from New York. The rest of them were backups.
Jones. Who? They lost to Goff.
Yeah, they lost to every starting quarterback except for they won 4 games this year, right? Right, they're 4 games. Yeah, they're 1 game with the quarterback was a starter.
And then who did
Where they played the Cowboys. They had the backup
Danucci.
Danucci. They beat the Saints. That was with Hill.
Speaking of Danucci, you know that guy, Mike, that the Nicky with the Pasquale, the guy that on Instagram that does his
Nicky Cass.
Yeah. So there's this guy. He's on Instagram.
Gotta get him on.
Yeah. So we got to get him on. So he does like impersonations of it. His dad, his name's Pasquale. He's like they're like North Jersey, like Italian. So he does the accent.
Nick Casano.
Yeah. And he was doing like Italian dad plays fantasy football, and he's like, "Oh, Ben DiNucci. Oh, isn't it? Don't the DiNucci's own the deli down the street? I didn't know that son played quarterback for the Cowboys." It's like, I'm gonna pick up Ben DiNucci, and he started him, and the guy's funny. Some of his little Instagram skits. And he dropped the whole Ben DiNucci thing. It's like, obviously I'm drafting him. It's Ben DiNucci's. It's the DiNucci's kid with the deli. And then that guy ended up.
Let me ask you a question. What's your take on like annual parties, seeing people once a year?
The Christmas and all that.
It's just I'm not one to hang out with someone once a year. I have to be honest with you.
You get tired.
If you see someone once a year, it's just like, I don't want to see you once a year. Not you guys. Your family I see a couple times a year. We're a new family. You guys just, Dustin and Gabby just got married.
Right.
So it's a new family. It's a new thing.
But 20 years in, it's repetitive.
Yeah, I'm just not real interested in seeing people just once a year.
Yeah, and then
I got to make a show once a year.
What are you doing?
It's small talk. You really don't care about that person. Let's be honest. You really want to. If you don't break bread with these people throughout the year, do you really care about what they did for a year?
No, that's a good point.
I'm just not into that. You're sitting
there.
Then
it's like, and like you said, then it's like a forced. Pretend. It's been busy.
Yeah, it's you're pretending.
How about did you see the Eagles?
It's like it's like Instagram. It's fake.
Yeah, man. It's like there's only like a set, like 4 topics. It's like you might bring
family.
You bring up the Eagles or the Phillies or the Sixers. How's work?
Sometimes.
What else are you going to ask? Oh, what about this election?
Sometimes
you have a little hanging fruit with them.
Well, sometimes you got to be careful because they could be on the far on side, and you say something wrong all day. The rest of the party, they don't want to talk to you.
So I was reading. There, obviously, it would come to no surprise that there was this past year, especially, so many families have been divided. And family members are not disowning and
crazy
because of their opposing political views, and that's been that kind of really got surfaced more than ever this year.
Oh, it's crazy. I have a friend. I love the guy, man. His name's Leo. I love this dude.
He's super liberal.
No, he's Democrat, kind of older. His parents were super conservative, so he's in his 60s. He's early 60s.
The friend or the parents?
No, he's an older guy.
Okay, but and then his parents even older. They were conservative.
They were his wife's parents very conservative, right? So when they were into high school in the early 80s, late 70s, everyone was kind of hippie-ish, smoking weed, hanging out, drinking, kind of
that was the wave they were on.
They kind of moved to more the center of politics, because go to church and. Because it was Christianity, conservatism back in the 80s, 70s. Yeah, it was strong biblical ties, right? So it's not so much me.
This guy can't come buy a cake from my bakery.
Yeah, it was strong. So I get.
You know what I'm talking about?
So I get, why he did that. But it's so funny. I'll text him. I'll call him a heathen. I'll mess with him, Just mess with him. We'll joke back and forth.
Right.
I'll send him pictures of memes of Joe Biden touching little girls and stuff. and I'm like, look heathen,
I'm losing half my listeners probably by episode 2.
It's a joke.
Yeah, no, that's great. They'll appreciate the humor, hopefully. Because I have friends that are very liberal, and they're gonna still listen to this because, they love hearing me. But anyway, continue.
It's funny. It's funny because I'll just send them little pictures, little memes by Joe Biden sniffing women, Just the best. Well, I also mess with them too about, being anti-American. I'm like, come on, Europe. I was like, go back to Europe, dude. Would you miss the boat, dude? What boat did your parents come on? Come on. I was just messing with him. But he's a great guy. I love him to death, man. And he's funny. We have great dialogue. But about the virus, he was so funny. In the beginning, he was like, "Yeah, you gotta wear a mask, Mike. It's this is the next biggest thing, And I'm like, "All right, Leo." And now it's so funny. I'm like, "Leo, bars should be open." Yeah, I guess you're right.
Right.
Bars should be open now.
People are very, and I've noticed it going into supermarkets here and there. I've noticed it. in March, April, May, whatever, it was like strict. Now, like you can tell, like people were being more. I mean, you're still going to get the heroes that don't know how to mind their own business, but people are. I've noticed the temperature kind of cooled off.
It has.
I mean, obviously we're still all wearing masks, and it's what we're doing, but the temperature I think's cooled off on the you better do this. That mentality kind of it's starting to fade.
You know what? I kind of like the mask. I hate to say
Nobody
it.
can see your
When you
face.
go to shop, right? Like people like you just like you don't want to see. You know what I mean? Whoop whoop whoop. You're sneaking through the store. You're like, you know what I mean? You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
It actually is a benefit because you see someone you don't really want to talk.
Or you're
to.
like you feel like you look like shit, or it's like
just
you're
a
having an
rough
off day. It's
You
like I don't need to interact. Nobody needs to see that it's me.
You know-
There's no evidence I was here.
You know what's funny is you can rob a bank without your mask on now. You know what I mean? Just open your mouth. They'll say, no, you don't need a gun. Nothing, man.
Yeah, it's ironic. I think I was talking to you about it, Mike. Like a year ago, if you walked into a bank with a mask on,
Oh, cop. Yeah.
but now you walk in without the bank, they pull their guns on you.
Yeah.
You put your mask on, hide your face. Now you can go to the teller and exchange money. Okay. It's like
Welcome
it's
to
like
2021.
yeah, it's like a year ago. You would have thought, wait, it was just to me when the first time I went into a bank to do a transaction with a mask this past year, I was thinking like, wow, that was like kind of ironic. That whole ordeal inside the bank was ironic. I had a mask covering my whole face, and I'm talking to a teller who also was covering her face, and cameras are looking right at us. They don't know who I am.
So what's your thoughts about the virus? I mean, what's your honest opinion about the virus itself?
Well, I want to make a quick funny note about the masks and at the stores. I mean, I think, if there was ever a time for the butter faces to shine, it's right now. Okay, it's.
There you go, man.
Take what you want, listeners, about this, but if there's ever a time for people with smoke show bodies but like Shrek faces to thrive in the world, this is it. Because you could be in aisle 6 looking at pasta and you see a solid 9.5 body and she's hiding that 4.2 face. I mean, you're golden. She's gonna start to get a little more attention than she would have otherwise. So I think going off the masks in the stores, I think there is a positive for those types of people.
So it's almost like beer goggles.
Yeah. But no, it's definitely a time for those to shine.
It's a funny story.
Yeah, well, I need to hear it.
I got a funny story. So my cousin Brian, man, back years ago, we had this little bar around the corner called Pepperidge, right?
Where's this? Down in
Acco.
Okay.
So I go to his house one day, stop in. We used to go all the time, stop by his house. Right. And he always leave his windows half open so you can knock on the window. Yo, where you at?
comment below, everyone that's listening. What's the place called?
It's closed now.
What was it called?
Pepper Gin.
Pepper Gin. If you've been there,
Acco, New Jersey.
Acco, New Jersey, Pepper Gin. Comment your experience there.
So I knock on the window and I'm like, yo, Brian. He's like, I hear this phone. I hear this grunt, right? Brian. So I open up the door and there's this girl in there, man, and she's like you said, just like butter.
She's a 9 from here down.
No, she's just complete, like mess. Right?
Oh, no good.
She
Okay.
gets up, man. She's like, "Rah!" I'm like, Brian, what are you doing? He's like, oh no, man, she was better looking last night. He said right in front of her, man.
Oh,
she
my
was
God.
better looking last night.
So he was like sobered up.
Oh my God, he's like, you were better looking last night. Something like that.
Right to her. When other people heard this,
No, it was just him and I, man. Him and I and her, dude.
oh my God.
She was completely naked too. I was like, dude, put some clothes on. Oh my goodness. Yeah, he said that to me. He's like, yeah, she was better looking last night. And I just ran out the door laughing. I couldn't hold myself.
That's funny.
They were the good old days, man.
No, it's funny. That brings up another point. What year was that? In the late 90s, early 2000s, maybe.
Probably early 2000s.
So it's funny nowadays with phones and everybody's filming everything. Like, can you imagine what really people were getting away with in the 90s and 80s, like growing up? I mean, we're all young and gonna do stupid shit. Now, I mean, it's just gonna come back and haunt everyone.
Yeah.
You can't now. You got a kid right now in college that it's on a popular Instagram page and it goes viral and he's doing something stupid.
Yeah.
He's going to try to get a job. 30 years ago, that same frat boy, no one filmed nothing. Everybody just saw it, mental note, it's gone.
Yeah, it was
Nothing.
forgotten.
And even in your teenage years and early 20s, nothing was getting filmed.
Man, you could write books. Some of the stuff.
Right. And now it's like you can't get away with nothing. I mean, these aren't bad things. It's not like people are robbing and stabbing people. I'm just saying like dumb, stupid shit that you're gonna do in your 20s. Like, now it's everything you fucking do. It's like it's a problem, and it's filmed, and it's now everybody's looking at it. It's getting shared, and everyone's got an opinion on Facebook about it. It's like the opinions are just everywhere now. And
it's thinking about the parents above me, like my brother's ages, they're in their 50s. Their generations failed a lot of us. Like they failed us. Their parenting methods.
Are you saying because of like the enabling and the coddling, that aspect?
Yeah, I mean, even in the lack of parenting at all.
Okay.
Even some of that, like snowplow parenting. Like you have the helicopter mom, and then later in life she's the snowplow mom. Like she's snowplowing the. I had a mom literally call me up, and I love her to death, and her son's a good worker, and that's great and all. But I mean, she literally called me up. She's like, "Oh, make sure you put a good word in for him." Like he didn't call me up and say that. She did.
This is what, for like a job reference?
Yeah, this was a couple years ago.
Okay.
And mind you, that family is an amazing family.
Right.
And the kid's an amazing kid too. So he's not like a piece of shit. Like
but some parents are doing the kids a disservice by saying you're in first place every time, everybody wins. No, you're gonna lose a lot.
And she was like, she went out of her way and called me up twice to keep telling me how good of a worker he'll be. And I was like, listen, if he's anything like you, then we're okay.
Right.
Like I explained it over that a few times. So, but the kids, like the parents today, man, it's just you're not parenting, and you're like just giving them social media, shoving the computer in their face, shoving an iPad in their face. Get them dirty, man. That's the problem. We don't do anything.
Well, not only get them dirty, but then also like let them know. Like I feel like my parents, they let me know that like you're gonna lose some battles. It's gonna happen. I mean, I think by getting prepared for adversity and knowing there's going to be things in your life that don't go your way.
Yeah.
That they let me know that that's going to happen.
Yep.
I think that was a benefit to me. It's a disservice to tell your kid he or she's amazing. He's always going to win. No. Like there's going to be times when you don't win, when you don't get what you want, when somebody else gets the job, when something breaks down, somebody else is actually better than you. I think that's the problem. Parents and their kids, they don't want to hear that somebody might be better than you at something.
That's the biggest failure. Parents don't want their kids to fail. That's and it
is inevitable. Like we're all gonna be bad at something. And
they mean well. Like my cousin Brian. Like funny story.
He's the Pepperidge. What's it called? Pepperidge Farm.
His parents.
What's this place called?
Pepperidge Farm.
Pepperidge.
His parents. Every time this kid would get in trouble, they'd blame me for it.
Yeah.
Because I was the older family member who was already out on my own, doing my thing. He was still in high school. He was getting in trouble. He would get in trouble, right? I wasn't even there,
right.
And I would be blamed. They would want to find a way to blame someone else instead of just saying, Brian, you drove drunk at 17. You lost your license.
Right. It's never his fault. It's never your fault. It's never my fault.
And years later, I mean, they've realized that I was actually the better influence than who he was getting in trouble with. They realized it down the road that but in the beginning it wasn't like that. Like it's parents don't want to recognize that their kids are failures, and it's not. It's
not a bad thing. It's okay. You're gonna be bad at something. You're gonna by failing at something. In my life, there's things I've done. I'm a very trial and error person.
Yeah.
I put myself out there and I try things. And if I don't do good at it, I don't do well at it, or I don't succeed at it, what I can benefit and gain from that loss is learning how to get better at that particular thing. And I think that I guess the kids now and even people my age, and I don't want any listener to think I'm knocking everyone, because I don't there's a lot of good things going on in the world, and there's a lot of good people and a lot of hard workers, but I just go off of what I see and my environment. And I think a lot of people will agree that parents, and you can kind of see in the tone of these kids, they don't let their kids know sometimes the harsh realities of the real world's gonna come hit you in the face. Like you're gonna that bill, your mortgage, those bills, no matter how your month went, the first of every month, them bills are coming back. It's in your mailbox. Those bills don't care how good or bad of a month you just had. You still they're coming every month. They don't stop. So my point is, you gotta suck it up and man up and figure out how to. There's gonna be times where things don't go your way, and that's to me an opportunity to learn. But if you're kind of sheltered in this false world where you think because I guess of your upbringing that everything's gonna work out, you're doing yourself a disservice. Because when shit does hit the fan for you and there are curveballs thrown, you're not gonna know how to handle that. I think that's the lesson I would want to teach kids is shit is not gonna go your way. Learn now so you'll know how to handle it later.
And that's what I try to do going back to my children. That's exactly what I try to teach my daughter. That shit's not going to go your way.
The boyfriend broke up with me. I got a bad grade.
You're going to have up and down.
My car crashed. I'm broke. Whatever. There's going to be problems.
And the parents today are doing a disservice to these children. Just like Coach Boone said in America, Remember the Titans about, you're crippling the children. Remember the coach went up to him and he was coddling the one player who missed the tackle.
Right. Instead of saying like, "Oh, it's okay," like,
okay.
No, work
you
hard.
can't come down on him.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't see you doing that to my other students. Your students or whoever's students. You're crushing them. You're disservicing them. You're making them feel sorry for themselves, not picking themselves up. So I have to go to work every day. I have to go to work every day. I don't want to. I would love to sit home and play on my phone. Right, but I have to go to work.
You want to stay home and do a TikTok, right?
Absolutely. Especially in a hospital with like a nurse.
The Juju Smith TikTok.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is it? Hold on.
I'll tell you right now, my
walk like that, and you talk like that, and you walk. That's all I got. That's my TikTok experience right there.
I see another meme that cracked me up. It's like they showed a pandemic of like 1918.
Oh, and I saw it. The nurses are dancing.
They're all TikTok.
Yeah.
It's like we can't.
And then in 1918, they're in like a gymnasium.
Yeah.
Like actually like with IVs in the patients.
Like real pandemic shit.
Yeah.
And then these people are doing TikToks. If we're that up against it, we should not be worried about doing TikToks.
Man, I gotta tell you, that business model of the TikTok model, I mean, it's genius. They exploited the short attention span that everyone has now.
Yeah, true.
Nobody's gonna watch a 45-minute YouTube video unless it's the Chat with Pat episode 1. But everybody's gonna watch a 12 or 8-second video while they're just scrolling. Scroll. 8 second.
I was doing that today.
And it's enough to. They figured out how to grab your attention for 8 seconds, and then they know you're gonna move on after that.
Oh yeah.
So I got it from a business standpoint. It's brilliant, and all the little kids now with their developing brains, attention spans are already short. They're just feeding into this with the TikTok. That's why it's so successful, I think, because
that's why parents need to step up.
I mean, that's why TikTok and IG stories and Snap, all that bullshit. That's why it's all successful. And TikTok, it just took it to the next level because it's literally like, I think I was showing my grandfather one. It was on Instagram, but it was a TikTok. And before he even knew what the fuck it was, it disappeared. He's like, well, you got to show me that again. Like that's how quick these videos are. Like before he even knew what the fuck he was looking at, it vanished. It's just different now.
Yeah.
But a 9-year-old kid will know exactly what it is and like already have it shared. So they're exploiting the short attention spans, and I think from a business standpoint, that's gonna succeed.
Yeah.
But when does it end? When does it get to a point where the attention spans are so short? I mean, these are our future leaders. These 15-year-olds are going to be 40 eventually. They're going to be trying to make decisions.
I think we're.
What's going to happen?
I think we're in trouble. I mean, I'd be honest with you. That's our future.
Yeah.
That's our future, and there's our future presidents. There's our future.
Think about this. One of our future. There's going to be congressmen and senators that were on TikTok this year. Yeah. Think about that.
Look at the presidents today. Look who we have. Look at our commanders in chief. Look what we have. Look at the best we have. I mean, even Donald Trump. I mean, that's the best we get.
Right.
Like, I don't have a problem with Don. I think he's a funny guy. I think he's great.
Yeah, he's
He'll crack me up. It's huge, right? But
tremendous.
It's great. He's great. They're all great. We're all great.
He has many friends everywhere.
Huge.
See, everyone listening, we're making fun of Trump too. So,
Yeah, it's
so
great.
You don't have to, we got everybody here.
Yeah, I am. This is the best we get. I mean, we got a sniffer. We got you're fired. Like, this is what we get. I mean, presidents need to be people like I think of a president. I think it's someone that's like my grandfather, like a strong, tough soldier, kick-ass dude that like stormed beaches of Normandy, carried dudes on his back, took bullets in his chest.
He walked uphill to and from school.
No shoes on, everything.
In the snow.
Yeah, in the snow in June, everything.
Like, I think of like my grandfather, like guys like that. They're presidents. Like, they're presidents. I mean, just even a female. There's so many female
Leaders, right?
Tosi Gabber is one of the toughest, coolest. She's down to earth, man.
She's there's a Rogan. He's big on her.
Yeah, she's excellent, man. Like, it's some of the things that she stands for.
Yeah.
I could when she ran for president in the primaries, I could vote for her. I probably would have voted for her over Donald Trump.
I think a lot of people would have.
I would have, only because of her background, where she's been. Four or five tours overseas. She was a captain. She has, she was military. She was a strong woman.
Right.
I can relate to someone like
she
her.
had the head on her shoulders was solid.
Yeah, and she was down the middle.
And it wasn't. Yeah, she wasn't. That's the thing. There's the extreme left, extreme right, and I did that backwards. Extreme left, extreme right, mixing up my rights and lefts. And then there's most people that are probably somewhat reasonable in the middle. Like they'll flip-flop on certain issues left and right, but they're not just like, stay in your house and, you're going to kill your grandma and then, we ain't wearing masks, like hillbilly shit. Like, most people, somebody we want in office should be the regular Joe.
Today's politics, it's so inconsistent. Like, even a strong left. I mean, the left, they are so inconsistent. Even with this virus, it's just everything's inconsistent.
Well, I don't even know the rule. Like, schools, I don't know what's. I don't have kids, so I don't really keep up with it. But I mean, every other week, I don't know, are the kids in school or they're not in school? Can I go inside and get a bagel? Do I have to stand outside? Am I going to get yelled at? Am I going to be okay? Like, I don't fucking know.
Joe Biden in like 91, 90, Joe Biden calling people predators, calling people of color predators.
Oh yeah, he wasn't. Again, I'm not. But fact check this, but I'm not sure. But to what I hear, he wasn't the nicest. He didn't have the nicest thing to say about certain groups.
Yeah, and but today, that he didn't mean it back then. What do you mean he didn't mean it?
Well, they all do it. Even the Trump side, even more conservatives.
Of course.
Epstein's a great guy. Well, no, I didn't mean it.
He's not a great guy.
So it goes. But listen, I'll throw stones at every. I'll do both sides here.
We need to be consistent. When you pick a president, you got to be consistent. And that's just the way it is. And Donald Trump, the fact that he even won the election is a knock on how bad the political platform is today.
Because how people right now are saying, how did Biden get that win? It's the same idea. Like, how did in 2016? How did a businessman turned reality star turned fucking I don't know, whatever you want to label him. How did he win? You know what I mean? How did he get this seat?
Even Barack Obama, how did he win?
Yeah,
he was a speaker, right? I mean, he wasn't that long. He was in Congress. Don't quote me on it. I don't remember, but I know senator. Not very long. What, year and a half? I mean, he wasn't in politics very long, and then he had the biggest seat in the House. He was a president. He's a leader of the free world. Just a year and a half of being in politics. So I mean, was he right? I mean, was he qualified to be a president? That's. But then you look at what people. I understand what people want. Like, they look at the presidents, and if they have the skin color of white, they automatically believe that they're against people of color. And hey, prejudice, that's been going on for a few hundred years, man. And I'm sick of it. Like, I'm sick of talking about it. Like, I have never been prejudiced. I've never heard anyone. I think I broke bread with every group. Played baseball with Spanish people. Lived next to people of color. Like, I don't have a problem with anyone. If there's a woman out there, if there's a black person out there, there's someone who wants to lead this country.
Right.
They don't have to be white, right? But but be consistent. You know, think about everyone. You know, because you have white people out here today that are ashamed to be white, and that's a problem. That's a problem.
Yeah, because I guess like a lot of media and outside surroundings and social media has thrown shade, so to speak, on not being white, but like how do I word this? A lot of outside influences that I guess before we didn't really have made us think, oh my God, like media shoving this down this agenda or something down our throat. Maybe you start to wonder, well, wait, am I a bad person because I'm this way? Because the media might be trying to make us look that way. But before,
I'm afraid it might. The way I teach my children conservatism, I'm afraid when they're older, it's going to be a problem. Like my way of life isn't going to exist in 20 years.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid of that.
Yeah.
So I have to find a happy medium. I need to be more center in how I think. I need to be a little bit multicultural, more than I ever was.
Well, I think we all, because more different groups, diverse groups of people are starting to interact and get married or just be in the same cities and towns now, it's more. We're all moving forward. We're all becoming more. You know, we're all becoming more. Progressive because 60 years ago, let's just say, neither of us were alive, but you live in a small town, South Jersey, wherever, Pennsylvania, and I'm sure some of our grandparents can attest to this. You're the people you went to school with, your neighborhood, your neighbors, your kids you play basketball with, everybody was usually the same of identity.
You're in the same bubble, yeah.
Right. So because of that, that dinosaur way of thinking, I guess, that's not how communities are anymore. No. Now with the internet and interstate stuff and everything being more commingled, now you can go over to Mount Laurel and have an Indian family living next to a white family, living next to an African American family, and they all have kids. So now kids are being thrown into this pool more. And I think now
that's great.
Right. And that's
what makes us great.
And I think that's why some of the older minds
I get it.
have that dinosaur mentality. They didn't get on, it's like get with it or get left behind.
That's why we're evolving.
Right. But it's not their fault.
No.
That's all they knew.
Yeah, we're a melting pot.
Right.
That's awesome that we have families of different culture. That's great. That's what we are today.
Right.
Just don't tell me I have to change who I am. Like, I don't care who you are. You bring your culture here, but I'm not going to change for you.
And then they shouldn't have to change for you either.
No.
Like you do, like everyone can live together and play baseball together, do whatever, break bread, but you're all going to have your own values within you're all going to have, and your values aren't bad and their values aren't bad.
No. And their religion isn't bad.
Right.
I don't have a problem with
everybody's allowed to have their own values, and none of them are going to really be hurting it or be negative towards anyone.
Look at like immigration. Our grandfathers came here from another country. Some fought in World War I, World War II, like my grandfather did. He fought in World War I. He freed his family from communism.
Right.
Comes to the United States, joins the United States Army to become a citizen. Goes to World War II for 10 years, a few years, comes back, starts a business, builds a family.
His American dream, essentially.
Learns the culture, speaks the language, does everything you need to do to become an American. His kids work for townships. His kids were police officers. My father was more of the partier, whatever. He was the youngest. You know what I mean? That's cool.
Is the youngest usually the problem? Because I'm the youngest, so I don't want to be the problem.
Well, my old man was... I'm the youngest, and I'm actually probably...
So this speaks for itself then.
I'm the youngest, and I think I'm probably the most concrete out of my brothers. But
yeah,
my grandfather, my father was raised by my aunts.
Okay.
So he was like had dressed the Sunday's best. Always had his suit on Sunday. Had to go to church.
Got the hat.
When he hit 18 years old, he was gone. Like he's like, I'm out of here. And my family was like yours. Like my family, they spoke Italian. Like that was them. Like you guys do. Like you guys.
My grandparents.
Yeah, but that was my family 30 years ago.
Right. Like the generation earlier, essentially.
Yeah. So when my father was 18, he got out. Like he didn't want me raised that way.
Okay.
He didn't want us raised.
So he was progressive in his own mind, right?
Yeah. He didn't want us going to church. He didn't want us going to Catholic church.
So every generation has a progressive push.
So he pulled me and my brother away from that.
Right.
My brothers, I should say. away from my older brother is 60.
I don't think where are your brothers?
I have 4 brothers.
I don't think I met any of them.
Yeah, my brother Lou lives in Tennessee with his wife Iris. She's a woman of color. It's so funny. They live in Tennessee. They're both. I'd have to say they're both pretty racist. You know,
even though she's wait, so she's like it's like the Dave Chappelle episode where he doesn't know he's black.
No, she loves her people. She loves where she's from.
And listen, I have a lot of black friends, and it's fine.
No, she's not racist. I'm just joking. But no, she always says she's very super intelligent, and my nieces and nephew are super intelligent. She just likes intelligent people. That's all. So if that comes with prejudice.
And where are they, in Tennessee?
They live in Tennessee now.
And I think that's the state where the guy, I admire this guy. The guy that bought like 20,000 bottles of hand sanitizer, and then he started price gouging them, and then the cops came and made him give them back. Like, dude, that's just being an entrepreneur. I'm all for that.
It's supply. What is it? Supply and demand.
Yeah, like I think he was. What are they? Probably like $5 or $6 a bottle. He's probably selling for like 30 a pop. I mean, dude. I mean, if that's what the market dictates, let the man earn.
Yeah,
I'm all. If I ran, I don't know how good this is going to sound, but I'm all for price gouging. I mean, it's opportunity. You know, I was all. Listen, when I saw that article and that story, I was like, man, they really came in there and.
Well, they were doing that. They were doing that during the pandemic. People
right.
And that's why we were. That's why.
If you want hand sanitizer, pay this price.
Yeah,
things are only worth what you're willing to pay for it.
Think about the beginning.
Isn't that capitalism? Things are only worth what you're willing to pay for it, right?
We could talk about capitalism too, man. That's
no. Yeah, for episode 2.
People,
you're coming back on eventually, but continue.
People during the early on the pandemic, they were being ridiculous.
Right.
Like it was like going to stores and not seeing stuff on the shelves.
I mean, that's being a pig. That's being
quick
a
story.
Quick
Quick story. When I was finishing up a project, March 3rd, and the first few cases were.
It's a week or two before the NBA.
I was up north.
It's like a week or two before all that.
I was up in North Jersey job, and there was like 1 or 2 cases a little bit north of my project.
Mm-hmm.
So we're there, and the guy that I'm working with is on his computer, and he's a germaphobe freak, right? So he's running around with sanitizer everywhere.
Lysol on the keyboard.
Yeah, he was doing everything. Yeah. But he's online thinking like, oh man, he's like a conservative, North conservative though, super conservative, super conspiracy.
Knowing like, oh, this it's coming.
It's coming.
China's here.
So he's putting a seed in my head.
Right.
Remember the movie Outbreak?
Yeah.
So my brain is picturing that.
Like everyone just gets perishes.
I'm up north, you know what I mean, and that happens, and I'm stuck there and can't go home. So I call the company that I'm working for. We were finishing up. The job was coming to an end, and I said, "Yo, listen, what's going on?" I let him look into it because he's a smart man as well, the owner of the company. So look in this. You got family that are nurses and doctors. Get back to me. But I have 2 weeks vacation. Do you mind if I take them? Because I didn't know what was going to happen, right? I wanted to make sure that I was home in my own home if things were to hit the fan. I don't want to be out somewhere else,
right? Because we didn't know if it was going to be like shit from World War Z.
Yeah, we didn't know
if it was going to be what it ended up being, which is really not. I mean, it's horrible, many deaths, but it really wasn't. You know, people became less scared by July. Everyone was like, "Dude, whatever." A lot of people thought that.
They went from like 1 case,
right,
apparently, to like a week later. Now I'm on.
And the cases kept rising. I was checking the Twitter feed. I mean, I was
on vacation, and it was. I went from like a few cases, and then right around the corner, not too far from the job, went to like 800 cases to where I was. So I took the time off. Then we all got laid off. So it was.
That was your 6 weeks.
Yeah. So that was two of my 6 weeks. I was on vacation. I was on like a temporary vacation.
Okay.
So I ended up collecting my vacation. I remember going up the week. My first week off, that next following Monday, I had a raincoat on. I went into the job, right? There were still people working just before they had shut everything down. I had like a double-headed mask on, gloves. I had.
You were like.
I had duct tape.
You were thinking of Outbreak and Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah, that's exactly. So I'm literally. Yeah, I was like.
Cuba Gooding was there.
I took all my ladders. I took all my ladders on the job. I'm spraying them with Lysol. It was funny. Loaded the truck, got out of there, and never went back. But you didn't know, man. You know.
Right. I mean, it's better to be more prepared than underprepared.
The stores were ridiculous. Like the shop rates, you go in there, these people. I remember seeing this one lady. I mean, listen, she was bigger. You know what I mean? God bless her. She's a big lady.
Couple packs of Newports in her car.
Big lady, dude. Right?
Yeah.
She walks in. She's got a Wawa bag over her head. She's got sandwich bags for gloves. You know what I mean? Like all the whole dude. And this little old dude, like 90-year-old guy, nothing on, no mask.
Yeah.
And he's like,
When it was still an option to everyone, right?
The lady was like, and the little old dude was like, looking at her like, and he's like, I'm already dead. And he like keeps going, I
Listen, if the 17 Diet Cokes that he drank today and all the McDonald's fries it didn't kill him, Corona ain't killing that guy.
But how funny was our governor though? Like a few weeks later, he's holding a bag of McDonald's in the van. He did like a little picture, like go to your local McDonald's. Get your alcohol, but don't go work out, like you said earlier.
Yeah.
Where was the health and wellness?
Where was the get your vitamin D? Go for a run. Strengthen your lungs by endurance. I mean, it's not. If you want to talk science, again, I'm not a doctor, but if I were to be logical and use my intelligence, I would think if your lungs are strong and you're in shape, your immune system's probably going to be stronger, and this virus, which attacks the respiratory system, your lungs are going to be more prepared and probably stronger as a muscle standpoint to combat it.
If we've had some young people pass away from this disease.
It happens. Oh,
and it happened. Yeah, it did. But
it happened.
The deaths that were at 300,000. I was saying this to a friend of mine, Leo. We were talking about. He's talking. What was it? He said 1 of every 100 would be dead if they didn't do anything at all. And he said to me, he's like, "Well, you never said talking about myself."
Now, what is it? 1 of every like 200,000.
200,000. He said to me, you weren't the ones to say not do anything at all, because I never said not to do anything at all. I just said being consistent. If you can stand in line in an airport,
right? Well, logically, none of that makes sense.
6 foot apart at an airport, right? Mm-hmm. But then when you get in the plane, you're elbow to elbow. Right? How does that make sense?
Well, I mean, in supermarkets, same thing. If they're having the remember when they would wait the lines outside, like they're getting into the nightclub. There's like a bouncer at the door shop, right? But then once you're in there, you're like climbing on people to grab your pasta. It's like, all right.
People in the beginning, it was funny. People were like banging carts and like didn't know who had it. Like it was kind of funny.
Or no, you
sneezed. It was great.
Speaking of the masks, like the bag, I've seen it all now because I'm in stores a lot. I saw a guy with. You ever see Breaking Bad?
Yeah.
He had the fucking Walter White meth lab fucking thing on, picking out his canned tomatoes. And then I'm down to aisle 6, and a couple aisles over in the vegetables, they got a guy wearing a Jason mask, like he's with the fucking knife. It's like July. He's wearing a Jason mask with his kid, and the kid's got the you never see The Purge?
Yeah.
The kid's got the Purge mask on. And it's like, I mean, I guess whatever works, I guess.
I saw what I gotta wear.
CDC approved.
Yeah, I freaked out one lady though, right? So she had the mask on, N95, gloves, everything, right? The whole caboot, right? She's in the store, and I was like, "Yeah, man, you're protecting yourself." She's like, "Yeah, you gotta keep this serious." I'm like, "Cool." I'm like, "Well, do you wash those groceries off when you get home?" She's like, her eyes lit up like. I didn't think of that.
You're in produce. How many people picked up that
apple
and licked it and said, "I don't want this one."
I had one guy who comes up to me because in a store with him, he says, usually the mask goes over your nose. He said, usually the scared just stay home.
Yeah. That's good.
But this guy, editor Mike, man, he holds no bars, man.
Leave me alone.
He don't hold back. This guy,
it's
young savage.
That's where you made a point earlier about being it's a personal responsibility.
Yeah, I mean, take care of yourself. Try not to be. You don't want to throw the word obese around because there are people have health issues. I'm not knocking them, but we are one of the most unhealtly countries if you think about it from a weight standpoint.
It's just like,
try to take care of yourself.
There it is again. Like they don't preach health and wellness in any form. You look at it today. It's everything is social media, and if you look at commercials, if you go to a Walmart, you look on the sides, it's nothing but candies, and there's no
Kit Kats and
my
Twix.
cousin. I have a family in Italy, and one of them's a nurse, Amoriello, and we were texting back and forth early on in February. She said, "Mike, take A and vitamin D right away."
Right.
Like right away, they were already ahead of us.
Oh yeah, they were a month ahead, and then we were like a month later.
And we weren't talking about. Like you said, we weren't talking about taking vitamins. We weren't talking about. They wanted us. even my quarantine when I got a surgery on my hand. This was recently.
Where'd you go? You were in the hospital? I saw that. You were in the
Yeah, it was just a little surgical center. Nothing major. But
Right.
the quarantine, it was on the paperwork, says you can go outside and do lawn work, but you can't leave your house. I'm like, so I can't go around the block. I can't go for a run. Can't take my bike out. Like, I don't understand it. I could go cut the grass.
Well, here's a question. I mean, I don't know the answer. Let's, a lot of these states were doing the 14-day. If you fly in from X state to Y state, Okay, let's say I fly from state X to state Y, get off the airplane, and you're supposed to isolate for 14 days, and I guess in your hotel or wherever the hell you're staying. How is that supposed to be tracked? Like, I get off the airport at LAX, and I'm staying at my buddy's place in LA, let's say, for vacation. I got to go stay in his house for 14 days and can't leave. How are they going to know where I go straight from the airport?
They don't.
How's anybody going to know? That's what I mean. Like, once I leave the airport, I mean, even when I get to the hotel, I can be like, yeah, I'm checking in. I only live an hour away, but I'm
they
in
don't
a hotel.
know. No one's going to know.
That's what I mean. Like, how can they enforce that if it can't be monitored?
They don't know.
I mean, I guess it's just a recommendation. Try to stay.
They expect people to, like, there's literally people probably calling them. Oh, I just got here, and me, my daughter, and my kids, we're gonna stay. We're only here for a week, but we have to add another 14 days to it.
Our vacation's 6 days,
because
I gotta stay here for 14.
I get paid to stay home, and I don't care about anyone else, so it's okay. Like, they were the ones who got on my nerves, like social media. These people that were
the Karens and Carols.
Stay home.
And
you're gonna
Jimbos.
kill us all as you're collecting your check, and no one's making any money, and you're drinking your wine while you say that. Come on, dude. Like, really?
Here's the problem. I think that I discussed this with a friend off camera the other day. I think this is a good way to look at how everyone is now. 20 years ago, let's say 25 years ago, 1995, 96. Everybody's had opinions since the dawn of time. Opinions have always been around. Here's the thing. It's 1996. You have opinion, your daughter, your son, your mom and dad, you're all at the family dinner table. Those are the only people that went back and forth with you about opinions. It was at the dinner table because there was now 2020, what year is this? 2021 now. You and I have an opinion like we've always had. Everybody's always had. You go on your phone, you post it in some stupid group, and now every Tom, Dick, and Harry that you will never meet in your life can see it, and you got 400 or 500 people that are arguing about it. So now it's like, well, instead of just your dinner table talking about the opinion because you had no access to the outside world through social media, now everybody puts their opinion out so that the masses can see it. And it's like, well, why? That's the only reason why why everybody argues on Facebook.
I think people do that on purpose, though. I mean, if you want dialogue, you want, like, there's this female.
People get. I guess it's like a.
They do.
It's a chemical dopamine rush. Like, I need attention. Let's make a controversial post, I guess, and an opinion. I just need people have to hear my opinion, and that's the problem. I think everyone has an opinion, but they don't. I think they think people care about their opinion more than people actually do. Nobody cares about your opinion. That's the problem. Everyone thinks everybody cares about their opinion. I think that's the problem.
The fact checkers, they're my favorite now. Like, I think that's a new thing. The fact checkers,
on like somebody makes a post and they say, well, actually, technically, per this source.
It actually now social media actually.
Right. It says like this is actually like the tweets about the election. And Trump's tweets all say, this has not been fact checked or some shit. You see those tweets? There's like a little flag on. You know what I'm talking about?
They flag everything. Like, if you write something, if it's like
just put a trigger word, just put election. You could be talking about the Eagles, and then just put election, and then it'll say this could not be right.
There was one about with Joe Biden, touching a young girl, and it ended up coming up as like one of my buddies posted it, and it came up. The little fact check little thing came up in the comments, and it was ended up being true, but the way they worded it, that's where they're censoring it. I guess Facebook now. There's a conservative. I heard recently there's a conservative like social media site. Parlor.
Oh, where it's not going to be censored. I heard about that. There's people on Facebook are saying, "I'm going to go talk here." I saw people post about it.
So I mean, so I think I'm going to move. I Facebook. I have a lot of friends, and the pictures. It's like when I joined Facebook. Now listen, when Obama was president, man, I beat him up. Like I would beat this guy up. So I'm not gonna act like I didn't throw stones. I threw stones at this guy all the time. The way he talked. So I'm just as bad as anyone that throws stones at Donald Trump. Like
right. We're all as long as we can all own up to our
yeah. I
behaviors.
mean, I'm no better. So then there was times I was arguing with people that I went to high school with back in like 07, 08, 09. And I told my wife years ago, I said, we are going to move into a direction that's going to be far from us. And she didn't believe me, she's like, oh, no, because she didn't want to believe it because she's just a good person. And then 2020 comes around and I know she doesn't want to admit it, but she's like, okay, you're kind of right. Like, and I don't want to move. Like we moved to Texas.
Right. You were down there.
We moved to Texas I was trying, like my daughter was at that age where I was like trying to, like she was 10 at the
You guys
time.
were like what, a couple years there?
No, we were there 6 months, man.
Oh, and then you decided it's
we did a 6-month lease, and we were gonna get it re-signed, find a house, and then she decided,
possibly buy there and be like, and it would have been like you would have been there.
Yeah, I mean, and for the family, it was the right decision.
Right. I mean, everyone's around here. I mean, I lived out west.
Yeah,
for
but
a while
it's not even. It's the people that want. Nicole's mom. I love her to death. She's been great to me these last 10, 20 years. Wasn't great in the beginning, but like there's certain people, yes, that I'm glad to be here with. Mm-hmm. But other people, like,
are you glad to be here with me?
Of course, man.
All right.
Pat, chat with Pat's awesome. Man.
Episode 12 or whenever in a couple of weeks, you're coming back.
Listen. This has been a great experience, man. Being able to have a dialogue, talk. I mean, it's great. It's good.
Well, that's why I started this.
This is the coolest thing ever, man.
That's why I started this pod. I had a couple friends to give a quick backstory. A couple friends. Throughout the country. I have friends out in LA and in San Francisco, Texas, KC. A lot of people I still communicate with, and they want to keep in touch with me. And they always, half jokingly would say, Pat, you would be great on a podcast. You have a lot to say. You tell stories in an intriguing fashion, what have you. So they were like, start a podcast, create a platform to start a conversation. And they were kind of half joking about it. And I said, you know what? Fuck it. Like let's do this. I mean, I'm a trial and error guy, trial by fire. So I said, let's try it. So it's kind of, I was like, it was a half joke. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. So then I told my friends, I'm actually going to do this. Don't tell me to do it because I'm going to do it.
Yeah. You're in now.
Yeah. And then they're like, well, we're all about it. So that's why I started it. So to wrap things up, I'm actually going to answer your question that, before we digressed, what you were like, what's your thoughts on the virus? So to finalize this episode, all kidding aside, I think the virus, it's real. I think the extremists on this end saying it's fake, it's a conspiracy, that's blasphemy. And then, there's the extremists over here, that won't leave their house. I mean, I think everything's good in moderation, and I think everyone should be reasonable and smart, focus on their personal health, mental and physical. I think they both are equally as important. I think that should be more of the focus and importance, opposed to just shutting things down and just letting that be the sleeping dogs lie approach. I don't like that approach. So I think everyone should try to stay safe. It is out there. It's real. And if you take care of yourself, and try to do your part in stopping the spread by being just a healthy person, I don't think that you're a bad person if you might want to start opening things up.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my take, and everyone's entitled to their opinion. I mean, if people want to keep stuff closed, I mean, that's their prerogative. You own a business, you want to keep it closed, close it. But if Joe or Steve over here want to open their business and put food on their kids' table, let them. As long as we're all smart enough people to make smart decisions. To, no one's going to be breathing on each other and not. People kept up with sanitation guidelines even pre-COVID, owning a restaurant or whatever. So let us show that we can do this and stay open. So I mean that's my take on it. So we're going to wrap things up. First episode, the chat with Pat. Next episode will be probably, I'm going to try to film once every week. I'll have you come back on again, but always a pleasure.
And thank you very much, man. It was a great time, man.
And I'll put some stuff in the link, the bio below of the YouTube.
Nice, man.
If you want to put your IG or you want to give a shout to an organization or a softball, baseball club, something like that. I could throw a shout in there.
Appreciate that, man. That was excellent, man. I had a great time. Great job, dude.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.